Racing, Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race. Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race.
So, hello then, everybody. Welcome along to esportseries.net ACC Assetto Corsa Competizione, round number 1 from Silverstone. We're here today for the first round, as I said, with this new game, new cars, new tracks. Obviously, Silverstone's one of those tracks that everybody knows, but the drivers today are going to be in for a bit of a challenge. And alongside me, I have got Matteo Lorenzetti.
Exactly.
He is here with me in the commentary box as well. So he's going to be helping me out with not only pronunciation, but learning me Italian as well, I think, along the way.
Absolutely. Hi, Aiden. Thanks for hosting me, and hello to your audience. It's a pleasure for us. This is for us the first double streaming Italian and also English, so it's thrilling for us to reach an international audience because just until now we have run only championship for Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione in Italian, so it's the start of a big adventure for us.
Yeah, definitely. It's a pleasure for me to be here as well, and we're going to actually flick now to the live action because we do indeed have cars on track at
Yep.
Silverstone. So 1 minute of qualifying gone at the moment. So there's 20 minutes qualifying session this evening, and there will be, I believe, an hour and 45-minute race. So
Yes.
fully expect pit stops as well. We've got a few drivers who I've heard of before. One we're following right now, which is Janfrest in his Ferrari. He is an AOR regular, actually. I've raced him there myself, and he's a very clean driver. But a lot of these guys, I don't know what to
It's
expect from
actually
them.
one of the drivers to look out for this event. But basically, since we run in preparation of this championship 3 qualification races that has been contested in October, November, and December, and the first 8 driver of each race has been qualified for this event. No, sorry, 9 drivers have been qualified for this event. The quality at the level of sim drivers it's quite tight. So I think there will be other people to watch it, because we got I know, and I race against a Boccia, that is very fast. Also Cristian Notari, Luca Pizzato, Luca Losio, it's really fast, and many others.
Yes, so you've got plenty of people to keep an eye on then.
Yep.
Throughout this championship. So it is a 5-round championship.
Exactly.
There is 3 rounds already decided what they will be. And then there will be 2 late announcements and additions to the calendar when the new Intercontinental GT Challenge DLC arrives. So the drivers will be thrown into a unknown territory, so to speak.
Yes, well, when we were preparing the calendar for this event, since I am a gaming journalist for Eurogamer.it, and like I said, per lo sport, I have the privilege to know personally some of the guys of Kuno Simulazioni. So we'll, let's say, informally ask them about the new DLC that will come out, and clearly we decided not to announce the new tracks, but we are quite pretty sure that the last 2 races of the season will be run after the new pack, the new DLC will be published. So we are confident to announce the new tracks soon.
Yeah, so just having a quick look at some of the drivers. We've got quite a mixture of cars, actually. I see a lot of Ferraris, a lot of Porsches, but we still do have plenty of Aston Martins as well, which is obviously a British car on a British track. Should be going okay here around Silverstone, but we've got the number 192 of Moretti coming through turns 1 and 2 now. Into turn number 3. Will he get the braking zone right? It looks to have stayed nice and neat and tidy, but with 20 minutes of quali, these drivers have got plenty of time to get a lap in, but you'd rather get one in sooner rather than later, I would think.
Yeah, also it's not foreseen bad weather, so the qualification should run on a dry tarmac. This is good for them, but let's see during the race what will happen.
Yeah, so at the moment we have a few times on the board. It seems to be Luca Losio who takes provisional pole at the moment. And if I'm right in saying, he is a very young man indeed.
Yeah. We were discussing that before the start of the streaming. It's one of the new, well, not so new, because he's on the scene. It's I think 2 or 3 years, because he's 13 years old and he started sim racing very young, and it's quite new among the Italian community, because it's absolutely blistering fast in every sim car he drove. But the fun fact is that at the start of his sim racing career, he was having big problems in reaching the pedals and the wheel. He was literally racing hanging from the wheel but it's absolutely talented, and if he will maintain his attitude, will be a staple in the future of the sim racing Italian scene. Also, Capoccia, it's very, very strong, but it's a bit older.
Right.
Definitely.
So yeah, I have seen that he's part of the John Lacey esports team as well. No.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
guys are
There is
looking strong.
Yeah, there is a bunch of teams actually here present in the championship. Some of them are most known here in Italy on the Italian racing scene, but some of them are a little bit more unknown. Let's see, the Gian Alesi with Luca Tozzato and Luca Losio. It's clearly one of the favorite, but also we have the GT3 Carman with very, very fast drivers like Andrea Capoccia and Gianni Monaco. Also, Vladi Colombo is not. It could be a driver to keep on ironing, and also Gabriele Semeraro. It's really, really, really fast. But there are also some private drivers that they have no racing team associated to them. Then could be quite a surprise, like Luca Rosmarino and Francesco Dondi, for example.
Right. So plenty of guys that you've raced against in the past, then.
Yeah, I know many of them. I think that the grid is quite well assorted between the cerebral driver that are quite how I can say, there are not the kind of drivers that are choose to risk to put themselves in dangerous situation, but there is also drivers that didn't think twice to go for the inside when they are attacking you. So I think that the championship will be interesting, not only for the quality of the sim racing that Assetto Corsa Competizione guarantees between the accuracy of the simulation and the weather, but also from the quality of the drivers and the different approach that they are putting in their driving. Luca Rosmarino, it's really, really known to be one of their devils, for example.
Yeah, so there's the talk of weather, as you said, and today currently we've got track temperature of 28 degrees and cloudy,
Yep.
with 23 degrees air temperature. So later on in the race, though, we have heard talk of rain potentially arriving,
Yep.
or even to start the race, because indeed qualifying is being ran at 11 a.m. As you can see, it's 8 minutes past 11 a.m. in the morning in game. So the race, I believe, will be starting at 3 p.m. So by that time, the clouds could have rolled in. It could have either started with a damp track and got worse, or we may see it start wet and dry, or start dry and wet. That's the joys of Assetto Corsa Competizione, and it's
Yeah.
all its variability that comes with the weather conditions.
Yeah. Also, it works. It worth mentioning some details about the rules that we decided to adopt for this championship related to the extremely bad weather. Because as everybody knows, Assetto Corsa Competizione has the worst condition, rainy condition, that is I don't know the exact English name, if it is the monsoon or the thunderstorm or whatever it's called. But when absolutely the heavens are pouring down and it's absolutely dangerous to drive, putting the drivers at the risk to do aquaplaning at every single moment. So since the weather it's randomical, but there is a slight chance of a monsoon to hit the track. By rule, the race direction will decide to eventually skip the session to the following one. This is not the case clearly of this in this case of the qualification, because it's dry, but it could happen in the next races.
Right, so looking at the qualification times, then you've got at the moment on provisional pole, as we said earlier on, was Luca Lozio.
Yeah, but Dondi and Port are quite are coming close.
Yeah, so he's currently just under half a second clear at the front. We're going to follow him on a lap now. We're going to go on board with him and watch how he takes this Silverstone circuit with the Porsche 911. He looks to know the track rather well. Getting the braking point nice for turn 4 there, and he's going to be coming onto the Brooklyn straight now. Takes a little bit of curb, but nothing that upsets the car too much. Now this is a difficult corner down into Brooklyn, so he's got to get the braking right, but it's one of these corners where you do try and take a late apex if you can. Looks like he's actually favouring the inside line through there, and then swing it round to the right through Luffield, which is coming on.
Very tight. Very
tight. Yeah, so he's going to use a bit of the exit curb, but that won't invalidate his lap in any way. And he's going to come across the start-finish line. We're going to see if he can improve his time. He doesn't at the moment, so he's going through Copse now. Looks to be a nice tidy line through there as well. So you think this driver's going to be a challenger for the number 1 spot then in the championship?
Yeah. I think that actually what we are seeing in the first 6 places are strongly tipped for the battles that we are expecting to see during the test championship, but I don't think it will be wise to underestimate people like Gianni Monaco, because I know him, it's very fast. Also Luca Tozzato, it's quite fast. And for now those are the names I would watch, but I must say that I'm surprised by the fact that Luca it's doing pole on a Porsche. It's not the kind of car that the vast majority of people racing on Assetto Corsa Competizione appreciates. It's quite one of the most difficult, in my opinion, to take to the limit.
Yeah, I think with the car being rear-engined as well, it can favour you in the rain. If it is heavy rain, obviously with it having more weight over the rear wheels, it can potentially be a really good car in the rain. We know the Lexus is a good car in the rain, but I don't think any drivers have actually taken the Lexus in this championship, which is strange, because it is still a good car really on this game, but we'll see what these guys are able to do. And we've just had another driver go P2 in another Porsche.
Puzzarini, yes.
Puzzarini.
Riccardo Puzzarini, quite a good driver also. He raced in one of the most known Italian teams, is the Team Racing One, and he's one of the guys that has absolutely the number to put the fight to the best. 2 Porsches in the first 2 spots. That's something, because otherwise we got a lot of Ferraris. Some Mercedes, and we've got also an heroic Lamborghini alone, I see. Chiesa.
Yeah, and lots of Aston Martins as well.
Lots of Astons, yes.
We've got 3 drivers currently, 4 drivers, sorry, all split from 2nd to 5th position, all split by less than 1/10 of a second, around a 2-minute lap nearly, which is phenomenal driving to be all that close, and that is milliseconds apart between those 4 guys really. So it's going to be tight going into this last 5.5 minutes of qualifying. They're going to want to try and pip each other and try and get a bit closer to the pole sitter, Luca Lozio, as well.
Beautiful driving by Lozio. It's absolutely clean and spot on in every apex.
Yeah, he looks to have got that nailed. To be honest, that Porsche, as we said, 2 of them on the front row, 2 Ferraris lining up, and there we go.
Trifiglio, move it second.
He's now gone
Great
P2.
work by Trifiglio.
Yes, very good time. He's got a lot closer to Lozio there now. They're just over 0.3 of a second away from the pole man, so it's still looking like it could well be his come the end of qualifying, but anything can happen as the track rubbers in and gets a bit faster, and the temperatures change very slightly through the session. And if anyone picks up a slipstream as well, especially like he's currently doing here, actually, on the Mercedes ahead of him. Not sure who that is ahead in the silver Mercedes. I'm sure we'll find out later on. But, yeah, Trafilio managing to get himself up into P2 ahead of that massive gaggle of cars. So now it is actually 5 cars, 2nd to 6th position, all split by just over a tenth of a second now.
Yeah, from the first position to the 16, 1 second, 0.3, not bad. So
Yeah. And the top 22 drivers all covered by 2 seconds, which is pretty good as well. We'll have a look at some of the people further down the order as well. I see we have another Lozio in P12.
Yes.
Are they related?
Yes, it's the dad.
It is the dad, so
Yeah.
he's also in the Porsche, so they must be sharing setups. Obviously, he's not part of the Jean Alesi esports team himself, but setting P12 is pretty good effort.
Pretty good, yep. I think they are sharing the setup, likely.
Yeah, likely indeed. So we've got Jean Fres now, who's sitting in 8th position. He's currently in pit lane, though, so we won't flick to him. Another guy that I was talking about before is Amato, who is down in, I believe, 17th at the moment. Yes, he is. Yeah. Yes, he's here. Yeah. So he's a guy that I've raced personally and know that he is. He's definitely quicker than a 159.2 that he's done at the moment. So he's one to watch to see if he can break into the top 10 positions. But yeah, lots of Ferraris, as I'm not surprised with it being an Italian car and people liking the heritage. But there's a lot of Aston Martins as well, which I'm surprised by, because
it's an appreciated car, I think, in Assetto Corsa Competizione di Aston Martin, because it's quite fast. It's an easy car to learn to drive, in my opinion. I've tried some cars in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I tried the Ferrari first, but I'm not too fond of it. Honda not bad, but clearly I think it's not at the level of the best ones. But yeah, the Aston Martin, it's one of the favorites. Also, let's see how it will cope with the next tracks, because the drivers have choose those cars and they will keep those cars clearly for the rest of the event. So now we have Dondi in pole position.
Yes, I was just looking at that. 33
milliseconds.
Yeah, 33 hundredths of a second. He goes on pole, and he's actually going to come out and try and squeeze in one final lap time on some fresh tyres. He's rolling down pit lane now. He's got 1 minute 50 to get around the track. I don't think he can do it.
No,
he won't be able to.
Flag, yeah.
He will not be able to defend his lap.
No, Lodge is stopping, so
that's it. That's his efforts over. So it's all down to see if is it Angelo? It is. It's Angelo. Let's see if Angelo Trafilio can take away pole position. He's actually coming down into Brooklands now, so only 2 corners to go in the lap. We'll see what he can do.
Let's keep an eye also on Puzzarini, because it's pushing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's Maggots, Beckett. Very tight also Puzzarini. Let's see if he can shape some tenths.
So yeah, see, Angelo here will also get another lap, so if he doesn't improve on this one, he's one to watch in the next one as well.
Puzzarini
in 4th place. He's now gone to the pit lane as well, so that's his efforts over as well. Let's see if Angelo actually carries on his lap.
Montalbano 3rd.
Yes, we've had an improvement.
Out of nowhere, I would say.
Yeah, so he's actually stopped now on track, so he's abandoned that now after crossing the line, but he has gone P3, so that's a stellar effort from nowhere, really, as you said. Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Puzzarini already pitted, so it's really down now to P5. Capoccia, would you say his name is?
Capoccia.
Right,
yes.
Okay, so he's on a lap, also coming through Maggots and Beckett's, through Chapel and onto the Hanger Straight. So he's one who is on a lap. Trafilio is on a lap. Is Porter on a lap? Yes, he is. We'll jump to him and see where he is. He's actually coming out of the final corner now. Let's see if he can improve from 7th place. He's half a second off at the moment, but a lot of drivers in front of him, awfully close, and he doesn't improve at the checker flag, unfortunately for him. So P7 for Porter at the moment.
Seems that's it for now. There are still some drivers, but they are a bit too far, I think, to take pole from Dondi.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of drivers still on laps. We've just had P9 come in from, let me just wait for the leaderboard to update. Semeraro Gabriele Semaramo goes P9. He's now been pipped now down to P10.
Yeah.
Because of, I believe that must have been Janfrest actually, going up into P8 now. So he's also ended his lap. Let's just jump back to Angelo and see if he's on a lap. No, he isn't. So the only one now who is still on a lap, who now isn't, is P5.
I'm checking, I'm seeing, but
He's now
I
moved out of the
think
way.
there are people that are coming back in the pits. Also, we didn't mention it before, but the qualified that we just saw was in hardcore mode, so people weren't allowed to express, but they were mandatory asked to go back to the pits and do the pitting.
Right, okay, so I think that's pretty much the grid order decided then. It looks like
Yeah.
Francesco Dondi. Is it Dondi?
Yes. Dondi,
That
exactly.
is how you would say his name. I'm going to apologise now to any Italian audience that is watching, or any drivers that do watch this back. If I do make a mess of your name, pronunciation-wise, please do excuse me. I will try and learn them all by the end of the season.
Well,
so,
I must say that there aren't particularly difficult names, except for, I think, Schiattarella, Montalbano, and few others. There are almost all of them are short names and not so difficult to pronounce. So
yeah,
you should be safe.
Should be safe. So that looks to be qualifying complete. And I think we will probably be back after a short advert break, and we'll be back with the race, which will be 1 hour and 45 minutes long with a formation lap, so stay tuned.
Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race.
So, welcome back, everybody. We're almost ready for the race. The server has just been relaunched, and we will have 10 minutes of free practice ahead of us for the drivers to just get their eye in again, load up the setups that they need for the race. And it looks like at the moment it is a dry session. We'll have a quick look if we can find it. I don't think I can see where the current weather conditions are. Can you see them, Matteo?
I'm actually seeing that for 10 and 30 minutes it will be a bit cloudy, but not much more from there. And also it's quite hot for Silverstone standards, I say, because it's 25 degrees and 33 degrees on the track, so quite hot. There will be a bit of a problem for some tires, at least in this practice condition.
Yeah, so we'll see what the race conditions are. We'll relay them to the guys watching just when we get that kind of information, when we load into the session, because this game does provide changeable conditions and difference in grip, and all kinds of settings can be altered to make every race different to one another, which is one thing I do think the Assetto Corsa guys, the developers Kunos who've made the game, they've nailed in that respect, where you could race 10 different races on Silverstone, for instance, and all of them would be different.
Especially if you take in account the fact that you can run also by night, and this paired with the fact that it's raining, it's completely changes the game about the braking points, the references, the grip of the track. So you have to be an adaptive driver, quite fast, because you have to adapt quite to every condition as soon as it arrives, because it's easy to make the mistake that ends your race or compromises it.
Yeah, exactly. Over a 1 hour and 45-minute race as well. I'm expecting a lot of these guys won't be quite as aggressive at the beginning, because they should be able to make up the time later in the race, especially if they can sort of survive and make the tyres last longer and more effectively than the competitors. I believe that tyre life in this game does make looking after your tyres and not being so aggressive on them, especially over longer distance races, can really pay dividends at the end of the races when you're on fresher rubber than your competitors around you, and they start to drop off. Even if they've got a 10, 15, 20 second lead over you, you can always claw that back. If you're catching them a second a lap, within 20 minutes you're back right with them. So here we see the lone Lamborghini, as you said. It's the only one in the field, but we'll see how he goes. How would you pronounce his name?
Chiesa.
Davide Chiesa.
Chiesa, it means church in English.
It does? Oh, right, okay. So basically his name is David Church.
Exactly.
But it's Davide Chiesa. Right, okay then. I'm learning all the time, as you can see. So
also about the tires, a bit of consideration about what will be the strategy of this race. It worth minding the fact that the qualification races has been run on a 1 hour in a 1 hour format, and from what we saw, the standard tires of Assetto Corsa Competizione are able to withstand a 1 hour long stint of a race without pitting. On some tracks, the most demanding ones, we saw the drivers starting to manage the tires by 45 minutes into the 1 hour race, but at the end everybody has been able to get to the end without changing, without resorting to go to the pits to change the tires. In this case, with a 1 hour 45 long, I'm expecting that the race will be basically a one-stopper for everyone.
Yeah, that does sound about right from my experience with the game as well. Not done massive amount of endurance races, but when I have done sort of 2-hour races, they've all required at least one stop. And as well, with the addition now on the latest update of the brake pads,
Yeah.
the brake pad changes, you've got a qualifying pad and then longer distance pads as well. So it'll be interesting to see what drivers choose to do, because you could technically come in the pit lane and do a full service as well as brakes as well if you chose to. Obviously, it cost you more time, but
did you know how much time it costs to change the pads?
do you know, I'm not entirely sure. I would imagine it'd be quite a lengthy stop in comparison to fueling and tyres. But yeah, I would say that most drivers probably will opt not to do that. We'll just have to see how long they kind of sit in pit lane and if we think they are going to change them there and then. But I would imagine most of them will play it pretty safe, especially round one as well. They'll all want to get off their championship to a good start. And again, as we can see at the top of the board, this must be a race fuel run, as the times aren't as close as they were to what the qualifying times were, sorry. But you can see Luca Lozio managing to get a 59.8, but I'm guessing that will be a higher fuel run. He's actually done... no, he's crossing the new start-finish line, which isn't the start-finish line in this game. It is actually using the old pit lane, is where the start-finish straight is.
After the Woodcote?
Yeah, indeed, after Luffield and then through Woodcote, which is basically a flat right-hander onto the main straight, which many a spectacle F1 races and all kinds of races have set off from that very same start line.
I remember an awful accident in Formula 1 after the Woodcote in '73, I think, when Jody Scheckter literally piled up all the field of the runners, almost all of them, and in the career of an Italian driver that in Italy it's quite known, it's Andrea De Adamic, because he got very, very bad injuries on his legs, but they were other times clearly.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're on about actually, but there's been plenty of good and bad moments around Silverstone, as it's been on the calendar of Formula 1 and many other championships as well for many a year. So I'm sure these drivers will know this track very well.
I think that this configuration, it's really standing the test of time, because there's a lot of corners that basically have become a classic. Apart from Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, there are great corners. In my opinion, Stowe, now I'm looking at Carturan and is entering the Stowe right now. It's one of the best corners around the F1 calendar, the way you are negotiate that particular corner. In my opinion, it's the kind of corner that makes difference between the good drivers and the best one.
Yeah, I believe that Stowe, with this being a track that's obviously native to my country, being England, and my local track happens to be Alton Park, which, if they managed to somehow bring that to Assetto Corsa Competizione, I would love the developers to come and laser scan that track, because that's about 45-minute drive away from me, and that track, when the British GT Championship goes there, that's fantastic to watch, because every driver that ever goes there says how much of a challenge it is. But it's the very same thing as Silverstone. Silverstone obviously used to be an old World War II airfield, so it's very, very flat. There's not much undulation change, but as you mentioned, Stowe is one of those corners where it has got a bit of undulation change. You go up a bit as you're in the braking zone, it then drops away on the exit, so it's more of a challenging corner than just a right-hand 90-degree right-hand corner. As you can see now on the stream, we've got Jean Fres going through there now. it's just one of those corners where you can carry a lot of speed through it, and it's an excellent opportunity to overtake. And then if you can get that corner right, really into Vale, into the chicane at Vale, is another good opportunity. So you haven't got to get the move necessarily done in Stowe, but you can definitely line someone up to be able to then pass them the very next corner.
Yeah, UK, it's clearly it's stuffed with great tracks. My favorites, one of my favorite is Brands Hatch, another one with his fair amount of altitude changes, let's say. It's quite bumpy with a lot of hills and I don't know the exact English term for the contropendenza, but you've got that corners where the basically the road disappears under your car when you are taking it too fast.
So we are now done with the practice session.
Yeah.
The talking's been done. The car setups are now being reloaded, checked and loaded up, and tyre pressures and all the driver's settings are going to be dialed in, ready for the 1 hour 45-minute race. We do indeed have a safety car leading the field around.
Sorry, Aiden. In the meantime, the guys of Sports Series has just heard you, and they are suggesting you to follow our next race with the Clios because it will be held in Alton Park.
Will it really?
So,
right.
yeah,
Sign me up. I am there. Let me
brace yourself.
I will race myself, and you guys can see if I've got any skill whatsoever. I think, to be fair, that sounds excellent, because when the touring cars and the Clios and things like that go to Alton Park, it normally does provide excellent racing. But any track is one of my favourites in the UK. You've got Brands Hatch, you've got Alton Park, you've got Snetterton, which a lot of people don't tend to like Snetterton, and I'm one of these guys that does. And then you've got
they never raced at Snetterton, I think.
No, and then you've also got obviously Silverstone. You've got Thruxton.
Donington.
So there's Donington. Donington is another local track to me again, about an hour away, something like that. And it's there's plenty of history in the UK. But next round will be Barcelona, I believe. So that will also provide brilliant racing, and I think they've done a really good job at getting that track perfect in this game. Because there's other games where you don't really get the undulation change like you feel in this game, like the hills and just the way that the track layout is.
Yeah, definitely there are not too much tracks in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but all of them are quite high quality, I would say.
So we are rolling then now. I see someone in the chat, Simon, saying Cadwell Park as well. Yeah, that's more of a motorbike track, to be honest. It's very narrow, but yeah, we've got the safety car leading the field away for this one then. And we do have everyone in single file. They're all going to warm the tyres accordingly.
Yep.
And we'll may as well do a quick run through the field if you'd like.
Yep.
Do you want to do the pronunciation? I will flick the camera from driver to driver.
From front to back, we've got Dondi in pole position behind the safety car, then Losio on Porsche and Montalbano also, then Trifiglio, Capoccia, Riccardo Puzzarini with another Porsche in 7th position, Andrea Porta, Gianfrest, Bilancini, not bad for the qualification, Cristian Notari, Gabriele Semeraro, Gianni Monaco, I think it's Riccardo Carturan, then Amato, Moretti, Dead, Losio, Schiattarella, Tozzato, Colombo, Chiesa, De Santis, De Biasio, Luca Rosmarino, Luca Colombo, Armanetti e Walter Rotundo. So in total we have 26 drivers.
26 drivers indeed. I'm just giving everyone a little bit of airtime because we probably won't see some of them make it to the end, so we may as well give them a little bit of airtime right now. I hope to see everyone make it to the end, to be honest, because it should be brilliant for everyone. And we've got, there we go, Rotundo bringing up the rear of the field in P27. So we'll go back to the front then. So I think we'll go TV camera for the start. And we do indeed have still a very hot track here at Silverstone. We've got 25 degrees air temperature and 32 degrees track temperature. And yes, we do have Dad Lozio, as Simon in the chat has just said. So yes, we'll be seeing what his son can do though from P2 on the grid. We should see the safety car accelerate away anytime now.
Yeah.
I think indeed he has done, and he will hand over the control of the field to Dondi on the pole position in the green and gold Ferrari. Got 2 corners to go. Who's your money on for this one then?
Okay, I'm focusing on the back of the grid, so up to you for the front.
Okie dokie then. So yes, he's bringing the field around Luffield at the moment, and I believe we will be racing out of the final corner. So we have now gone green. The race will effectively begin at the line, and Dondi's going to lead away through into Copse corner first of all, followed by Lozio and Montalbano. Go helicam just to see if there's anything happening further back as well, as all the drivers seem to have kept it nice and clean and filtered the way through the tricky Copse corner to begin with. And it looks like we've got a bit of a battle for 5th already. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th all quite close together coming out of Maggots and Beckett's. Through Chapel Curve they go. You can see the rest of the field all look to be negotiating it rather well.
Nice and clean. No, nothing happening on the back of the grid.
Nothing happening at the back of the grid indeed, so that's good to hear. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on the lead battle here though. At the first overtaking opportunity really into Vale. We've got Lozio all over the back of Dundee for P1. They're just coming onto the new start finish straight now. We'll have a look to see if he's going to try it into Abbey, but I don't think he'll risk a move there just yet, but he's following him quite close behind at the moment. Into turn 3 we go. Let's see if he's going to have a little bit of a look. He isn't, but he's awfully close.
Oh, De Biasio and the Santis. Oh, they touched something happening at the start line, because De Biasio and the Santis touched and someone has lost the back of his car. I can't see it from distance, but it's something happened there at the back of the grid. Not a big crash, but they've changed a bit of paint on their cars.
Okay, right. So got a bit of action already. Then I didn't quite catch that on the main camera, but still have a battle for the lead. And I tell you something, Lozio is looking like he's wanting to get past as soon as possible. He's all over the back of him down the start finish straight to start lap 2, and he's having a look up the inside, but Copse is really not an overtaking opportunity unless the driver ahead completely messes up the entry. And it looks like he's actually got alongside him going into Maggots and Beckett's, which this is going to be brave. If he does that, not quite. He does feed back in behind him through the tricky S's section here at Silverstone. So it's been a cracking start already. These two at the front have pulled a bit of a gap already, and they are pushing.
In the meantime, there is some nice groups that are starting to probe each other for some opportunity. I think that something happened during the start procedure, because between the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th place there is a bit of a gap, 1.2 seconds, then 2 seconds, and there are the other cars a little bit more close to each other. So I think that someone missed the correct start point when Dondi and Lozio decided to start after the safety car has come in.
Right, okay, yeah, so that's why we've seen a bit of a spread field maybe. We have got someone with a drive-through already. Looks like Vlad Colombo actually.
Colombo, yeah.
Yeah, he's been given a drive-through penalty already on lap 2 of the race. He's not going to be happy with himself if that is a genuine penalty. I would assume that that's going to be either looked at and potentially removed for him, but we'll see if he serves that penalty or not. But yeah, the lead guys have all broke away. We've got, as I say, this battle between Luca Lozio and Francesco Dondi at the front of the field. I think this is going to be a battle that rages on all race. To be honest, we've got already 5 minutes gone nearly. 2 laps completed, on to lap 3 we go.
Quite a clean start, except for what happened between De Santis and De Blasio. I'm not sure about who had a bit of a big oversteer entering the start-finish line straight, but everybody was able to avoid a major carnage. So actually the situation it isn't changed too much from the starting line situation.
So we've got an onboard here with the second place man coming down into Vale. The Ferrari missing the apex a little bit at the Vale chicane, but manages to keep in the lead. There's not really a place to pass.
Lozio on the back of the lead.
Yes, I'm watching that one right now. He is having a look up the inside of Abbey, but I doubt this is going to be an overtaking opportunity. To be honest with you, he's feeding back in behind him, coming through turns 1 and 2 of the new circuit. So into farm and village. Which are
also Capoccia very aggressive on Montalbano, that it's doing defensive lines.
Yeah, so the Porsche's actually got a really good run here. He's got an excellent run coming onto the Brooklyn straight. He's looking to the inside. It looks like the Ferrari's going to squeeze him over. The side-by-side, I think, now, and the Ferrari looks to be just ahead, but is he going to be able to get up the inside? No, not quite. Awfully close between the two, but they're being sensible, to be fair. They know there's a long way to go in this race yet, and we've got a bit of side-by-side action, I think, as well, for 4th position between Montalbano, I think it is.
Yep,
yes, it is.
Look at the acceleration on the Porsche.
Yes, he's having another go. Is Luca Lozio, and again, he just can't quite get his car ahead. He's getting the better drive off the corners. I think if he did manage to clear the Ferrari, he would probably check out at the front and get a bit further ahead. He's itching to get by him, but he just can't find a way past.
Colombo, in the meantime, in the pits to do the direct penalty.
Yeah, so we can see him here coming through pit lane at the moment for the drive-through penalty. He's going to go tumbling probably down to the back of the field, but at least he can then go racing from there, because it's a long race, as we've said multiple times before. Anything can happen, so we could easily get back into the race. So we'll do a quick run through the order then. So we've got Dondi leading from Lozio, Montalbano in 3rd position with Capo, how to say his name again? Capoccia. I need to get it. Capoccia.
Big head. Big head.
He is in P4. Angelo Trofilio.
Again,
well.
Lozio
again.
He picks his nose, but he doesn't have the right acceleration to end the overtake.
Yes, he is awfully close. This is pretty much the only battle on track I can see at the moment. There looks to be a battle for 10th starting as well, so I'll flick back to that in just a second, but we'll capture this lead of the race, because it's looking like he's lined him up out of the tight left-hander of Farm, and he's going to have another look into Brooklands, I think. Can the Porsche outbrake the Ferrari into the long left-hander in front of the BRDC building here at Silverstone? He's going to try around the outside, the side-by-side, and the Ferrari's got the line, but watch out for the cutback. This is excellent racing from these two.
Yeah. But it seems that Dondi is holding a little bit Lozio, because you can see that Montalbano, Capoccia, Trefilio are coming up quite quickly. Also Porta in 6th position.
Yes, they are. They're all catching him, because Lozio is being held up. You can clearly see it, but he can't find a way past. That's racing. They've got to find a way past if they want to do it clean. They can't just ask the guy to move out of the way. He was a bit wide coming out of Lothfield, it looked like, and he picked up a bit of gravel on the way through. So it is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars through Maggots and Beckett's, and this championship is going to rage on. We have a gap of about 2 seconds, as you say, and Jan Frest a little bit further afield in 7th place at the moment, but he is going to be looking for these guys to battle hard so he can make up the distance that he's lost at the beginning.
Yes, I'm taking a look in the back of the grid, but there's no near cars except for the trio between Puzzarini, Schiattarella and Chiesa, yes, but they are not enough close to each other to fight.
Again, it looks like Luca Lozio in second has got his nose just behind the Ferrari in the lead, but he can't make a move into Abbey. But Montalbano's going to have company here.
Also Capoccia.
Capoccia, yeah, he's looking. He is
quite
trying
aggressive
to line him up for a move. He's going to be tight actually coming out of turn 4. Not turn 4, sorry. I'm thinking of the new track layout rather than the old one. It's more like about turn 12, I think, something like that. But
I don't know exactly which number is. Sorry.
yeah, but this is now Brooklyn. So yes, we do now have 6 cars in this battle because, as we said, Porter in P6. He's now on this train as well in the second of the Aston Martin. So it is Ferrari from Porsche from Ferrari, and then the 2 Aston Martins a little bit further afield. We'll have a quick look back to P10, which looks to be a battle raging on between Semeraro and
Notari.
Natari is a bit further ahead, I think, actually. Yeah, so it's actually 10th, 11th and 12th again is a little bit further afield. So it runs a little bit wide out of Cops, actually. Does Semeraro, but he manages to regather it up. I do like the way that the track limits are going to be dealt with as well in this championship, where it is whatever the game says. So you'll get 3 track limits warnings, and then you will be given a penalty. So that is probably the best way of doing it. It's fair for everybody, and there's no arguments really. If you've cut the corner, the game will alert you to that.
Lozio.
Having another look again. It's looking like Porter as well had a little think about having a look down the inside of
Great
Trafilio.
nerve by Dondi, I would say, because it literally had the bumper of Lozio peak on his rear exhaust from the start of the race, and it's holding up mentally quite well.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Basically, he's got a lot of composure to be holding that Porsche behind for so long. It's looking like Lozio is probably going to have another look though here. He's got a good run down to Brooklands again, down the Brooklyn straight. He's going to look to the outside because Dondi plonks his car right in the middle of the road, and he's hugging the inside nicely. He doesn't run wide. That's what he's managing to do. He's running the right lines. He's running his own race. He doesn't mind what Lozio does behind him because he's got the edge on him. But to be fair, he's actually going to try down the inside now. He's going to have the inside coming through Woodcott, and down the start-finish straight, they're going to be neck and neck. I think the Ferrari might just have the edge down the straight, actually, and he has managed to regain the lead. Wow, what a bit of racing that was. He nearly got a run out of Luffield and down through Woodcott. But
great defensive driving by Dondi. It's doing the perfect lines to prevent Lozio to put the front of the car in the vital space where he could do the decisive attack. It reminds me a little bit of Villeneuve at Jarama, keeping behind of him 5 cars, absolutely flat out trying to reach him. Beautiful race until now.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of a move in the background there from Capoccia trying to get past Montalbano, and Montalbano's running a little bit wide there, so it's gonna come down to the Vale chicane, and he's gonna have a look as the Ferrari. He nearly gets squeezed over. The Ferrari's coming down the inside whether he likes it or not, and it looks like they've touched. It looks like he got the move done, and then all of a sudden the Porsche managed to defend, so the front 2 now have got a bit more of a breakaway. But it's 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th all here now, and Angelo's having a jink out to the inside to see what's going on. He wants in on the action, as does the other Aston Martin of Porter behind him as well.
I can imagine Angelo, big grin on his face actually.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah, this is always the case when there's guys battling ahead of you. If you've not quite got the pace of the guys ahead when they are battling, and you're on the back of them. Has he done him? Has he got past him? He has. Yes, Porter managing to get up the inside. I missed that. I managed to catch it just about on the camera. But Dondi again, I think, has managed to hold off Lozio into Brooklands, I believe. Yes. Oh no, they're side by side and they've touched and he's spun him round. In Luffield, he's lost the lead because of a bit of an accident. He's going to wait, which is the right thing to do, and rejoin when he's allowed.
For the other cars to pass.
Yeah, he's had to wait. That means he's tumbled down the order to, I think now, probably about 8th or 9th position, which is such a shame for Francesco Dondi, because he was doing some absolutely brilliant defensive driving.
Yeah,
he is
driving.
Indeed in P9, so not the end of the world. It looks like his car isn't too damaged, so hopefully we will see him come fighting back, but a bit naughty from Lozio that. You could see the pressure was getting to him a bit.
I was actually looking at other cars at that particular moment. I lost the moment when they touched, and I can tell if this situation could be material for the race direction and an eventual protest. Let's see.
I mean, I think they were quite side by side. I caught the like pretty much just as the contact was made, so hopefully everyone on stream managed to see that. But I think it was a case of Lozio going around the outside and a little bit of a just kind of a racing incident. But with it being for the lead of the race, the stewards could look into that. But we'll see after the race what comes of that.
I'm looking at the replay right now. I see there is Lozio moving on the outside, that it goes on the outside and he keeps the outside at the first part of the track, but he goes outside the track, and when coming back he literally gets Dondi on the rear right side of the car. I don't think that this will pass unnoticed by the race direction.
We will have to wait and see after the race. Unfortunately, we probably won't have that information straight after the race, but we can probably update you with that. The following race, we will be able to obviously update the viewers on the stance on that and what stance the race direction take. But for now, Lozio does lead the race, and you can see he has already put a bit of daylight between him and Montalbano. It's now up to a second is the lead, but Montalbano has now inherited second position from the incident that just happened a lap or so ago. But he's still got Capoccia behind him, who's following rather closely. Porter has surprisingly dropped off to a second as well now, but still has Angelo for company as well. And all the meanwhile, Jean-Frest is still plugging away, and he's actually obviously gained a place now. He's up into P6, but he's still 3 seconds adrift of these guys. You can just see him coming out of Chapel at the top of your picture, and he's a little bit further adrift, but he will...
De Santis on Rosmarino. There it goes. Here are the Beckett's and Chapel.
Which position?
21 position.
Right, so we are with them now. So it's the Nissan GTR ahead of the Aston. So DeSantis and Rosmarino. There we go. Yeah, so we've got the black, orange and blue Aston Martin. I do like that livery, actually. That's a nice looking livery right there. But he's looking to get by to get himself into the top 20 positions and get after Arminetti ahead in the Mercedes in P19, number 959. So we'll see what he can do. We'll keep an eye on his progress a little bit later.
Rosmarino is a regular in the Nissan GTR. I raced against him on Assetto Corsa, and he was the only Nissan GTR during the championship. He has done amazing races, but it was 2 years ago, I think. Great fun to watch him. Seems that tonight he doesn't have the pace to be in the front, but clearly the quality of the driver is very, very high, so it's quite difficult to emerge from the back of the grid, especially when you are doing a rolling start like this one.
Yes, exactly. Everyone isn't as bunched up as you would be normally. So.
Oh, mistake by Capoccia! It's on the grass. Third position. It's on the grass. He's coming back.
Managed to just catch the end of it.
Yeah, Capoccia basically missed the Chapel. I think the Chapel change of direction. and he literally cut everything, cut all the track on the grass, exiting to the last to Chapel. I think it's the last corner of the sequence, and he lost position because actually he has lost position to Porta and Trifilio.
Yes, they are right together, glued together. You can see them in shot now. We've got the leader passing through, then the second place Porsche, then the two Aston Martins, which have inherited position over Capoccia, and that's also allowing now Jean-Fres to only be 2.6 seconds back, so he's closing the gap down with a mistake from Capoccia. We've also got, so we'll show some of this battle here as well. Natari in P8 looks to be on the back of, is it
there is Dondi coming back on Notari and Bilancini, yes.
Yes, Bilancini. So yeah, we're going to have Dondi joining the party any minute now. He's not so far back now, only a second after his, shall we say, spin in Lutfield. And we've got 10th and 11th there as well.
Say it's more of a spat with Lozio.
Yeah, just a little bit. It was bound to come down to something like that. It was either going to be a phenomenal overtake or a bit of contact that was going to decide that, because I feel like Lozio was getting a little bit annoyed, let's say, with being held up, knowing he was faster, because if you look at the gap already to Montalbano, it's 2 seconds after 2 laps. 3 laps in the lead, sorry. So with clear air, he is definitely quick, but we'll have to just see what comes of that later on in the race. But we've got plenty of battles still raging away. A lot of cars only sort of tenths apart. We've got a battle for 15th place here from Moretti, who is driving the Aston Martin. Yes, in the back of shot here, the red and black Aston Martin. He's all over the Mercedes through Maggots and Beckett, and just ahead of that is Dad Lozio, as we've been calling him.
Yeah.
So he's just there in 13th place. So it looks like he's gained some positions from the beginning. I feel like he was down in sort of 17th, 18th place.
15, 16 maybe, yes.
Yeah, so he's gained a few places and gone forward. It's now saying he's up to 12th place now, actually.
There is a nice group forming between yes, Moretti, Tozzato and Monaco, but nobody is actually in the shooting range to try to attack the other ones.
Looks like Dondi has now closed another 3/4 tenths of a second from the previous lap. Looks like he is now there or thereabouts on the back of Natari. Actually, no, yes, I think he is. He's nearly there. Yes, you can see this gaggle of cars now mainly filled with Ferraris, but there's a couple of Astons thrown in there as well for good measure. But Dondi, how do you feel like he's going to feel like now? Do you feel like he's going to push and try and make up those positions, or is he just going to stay level-headed, think, right, there's an hour and 22 to go, I can make up the time?
I think that judging from the kind of the accident he had, he shouldn't have quite damage on the car, so I think the car is still in good shape, and I think he will attack right away the guys. Oh, maybe someone, I saw a car, yes, Notari almost spun, and Dondi has just passed it. Notari entering just after the old starting line, lost the car. He was going at the inside, but Dondi has been able to pass him without the incident, so Dondi has got a position for free.
Yeah, it looked like it was through cops. I saw him flash past the screen. Dondi went flashing round the outside of him. I don't think he got out of the throttle at all, because he spun to the inside. I think it was sort of a half spin, as you say, and he's managed to keep it out of the wall and any contact from any other drivers. But he's now down in 11th. Is Natari, the number 6 car. But let's just see. He looks to have regathered himself, and he's hitting apexes again. His tyres are cleaned up enough. Although he does run a little bit wide there onto the new start-finish straight. He looks like he's still struggling a little bit. May have a bit of extra tyre temperature from lighting those rears up a little bit. But yes, Dondi managing to get himself up into P8. But everyone looks to be rather spread out in that top 10 now, other than, I think it's Trafilio and Porter. Although, yes, 0.6 of a second. So we'll ride on board with Angelo here. See if he can close the gap at all to port at ahead.
Yes, quite solid race by Angelo. Angelo, it's a driver that it's one of the cerebral one, I will say. It's not the guy that makes some risky business when it's up for a good result. So I think it's waiting to see what will happen after what we are expecting, the pit stop, because we are expecting at least one for everybody to get fuel on board and change tires. From what I'm seeing, the actual concern of the front runner is to stay in touch to the guys in front, to prepare for the last part of the race to attack.
Yeah, that would make sense, because you can gain and lose tenths of a second over each lap. If you only lose half a tenth of a second or so each time, or every so often, then you're still in contention. But the pit stops are, what I've noticed in this game is they are crucial to hit your marks. If you don't hit your marks, the team have to pick you up or put you on dolly wheels and roll you back into your grid spot, and then that's costing you time all the time. And I've been in races where I've lost nearly 10 seconds in the pit lane to everyone else just from missing my pit box. So it can be drastic if you get your pit box wrong. So we'll have to keep an eye out if we can jump on board with a few people when they do jump in the pits.
But you mean missing your spot by few inches or by 1 or 2 meters has the same effect?
No. So if you miss by drastic amounts, they will physically lift the car with a jack. They will put you on dolly wheels, roll you back, they will drop you down in your grid box, and then the real jacks will come up. So in that whole time, and a little bit of a move actually from, how would you say his name? P13 in the Merc. Who's that?
Tozzato.
Yeah, he's just had a little bit of a look at...
Moretti on Tozzato.
Yeah, Moretti's now coming at him because he had a little bit of a look into... the tight left-hander, and he's gone wide, I think, now in Brooklyn. So the Aston Martin of Moretti's now on the outside, but he's got his nose ahead. Let's hope there's not contact here as well. He looks to have got the position back, though, actually, and they're still side by side. Yes, they are. Across through Woodcote they go, but the Mercedes has been able to get the drive out of Luffield. But the Aston's now coming back at him into Copse, and there's nearly contact. What a bit of close racing that is. That's brave going into Copse like that, but he does manage to hang on, and that's all the time helping Lozio in 12th in the yellow Porsche. He's stretched his legs a little bit, and Monaco in 15th. He's going to be rubbing his hands together there in the 808 Ferrari, because these guys have now been battling for few corners, and that's allowed him to get a bit closer in the Ferrari in the background.
In the meantime, Notari seems to have brought the temps of his rear tires back to the right range, because he's back on track. He has a comfortable amount of time on dead logic, and let's see if he's able to catch back up run. Dondi, I think that Dondi is slowly catching on Bilancini, maybe.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the battle, the gap a little bit, to see if he could close the gap. But if anything, it's Gianfras that's now under pressure, I think, of the drivers, because he's actually 5 seconds back from Capoccia, so he's got a bit of clean air in front of him, but Bilancini is right there in the Aston Martin with him, and Dondi not so far back either. But going back to the whole pit stops, so yes, they can, if you miss your pit box by a considerable margin, like talking meters, 1 or 2 meters, they either simply won't do the work on the car, or if they do, they will pick you up on dolly jacks, roll you back, and then drop you down again for the real car jacks, the air jacks that come out the bottom of the car. Then they will come up, and then you can do your tyres and fuel. Whereas if you miss by only a few inches or something, you will see the car move as if they've pushed you into position without lifting your car up. They've just literally pushed the car into the position, and then your jacks will go up. So that's obviously a lot better than missing by miles.
You're basically bidding to lose your race if you do a mistake like that.
Precisely. So there's that aspect of it. if you really land perfectly in your box, the jacks will literally come straight down. That's the perfect pit stop if you can do that. And obviously with this, with the pit stops, it's attacking the pit lane as well. So when you come in the pit lane...
Capoccia un trifiglio. Sorry, Aiden,
is he having a look? Yes, he is. He's right on him now.
After the mistake, since the Capoccia has waited for the tires to come in good shape and seems to have a pace a bit quicker than Angelo.
Yeah, it looks actually like the last lap. You can see at the bottom of your timings, it says last lap's a 1:59.385, and that was actually his best lap of the race. So he's flying along now after his little bit of a moment earlier on. It looks like Angelo's actually got a bit wide now there, and he's going to have a loop down into Brooklands now because he's got to run out of the tight left-hander. He's in the slipstream. And Angelo defends.
Under pressure.
He's going to try and go round the outside, is he, on the Ferrari? No. He's going to let Angelo potentially run a bit wide. No, he hasn't. He's managed to keep it well within track limits. But he has run wide now in Luffield, and the Ferrari's nearly got his nose alongside, but not quite. And he's lighting the tyres up to try and get a good run, but Angelo does manage to defend. But he's going to come under threat once again. I would think it's probably going to be the next opportunity to overtake. Will be Stowe and Vale around halfway around the lap. Although he is rather close going into Maggots and Beckett's there. He's got the car sideways a little bit. Then you can see the front wheels twitching around as he was correcting the steering, but he's managed to keep it on the road this time through there. And although it doesn't have the best of runs, I don't think. Oh, he has actually. No, he's only 2 or so car lengths back into Stowe, so if he can have a good run through here, he'll potentially have a look into the Vale chicane once again. But that lap just then was around a second slower than his best, so you could definitely see that he was in the turbulent air of the car ahead. Is he going to have a look into Vale? He's jinked to the inside now of the loop, but not actually gone for the move. He's backed out, which is probably sensible from there. That would have been a full send, I would think, a dive bomb from Capoccia, but he's there
also,
still
we've
waiting.
got another nice battle between Amato and Puzzarini, position 18 and 19. Look at that.
Yes, so down into Stowe, sorry. We've got them side by side. It looks like Amato has the inside in the blue Ferrari, but the green Porsche's trying round the outside, but not quite. Let's see if he can jink to the inside at the Vale chicane. And meanwhile, Puzzarini in the Aston behind is rubbing his hands together again. Another driver loving the guys battling ahead. Looks like the Porsche.
Lose time.
Yeah, he's lost time battling and allowed him on the back, but he's Amato's somehow now defending. I don't think Amato was actually that far down before. I feel like he might have lost a few positions. He's hit the curve through the... and there's a bit of action here because he's off on the grass is the Porsche as he's trying to get down the inside. And he has managed to do it, and there's a bit of contact, and Amato's hung it round the outside into the tight left. He's surely going to run wide now, and the Porsche should have the exit, and he has. The Porsche out dragging the Ferrari through the kink and onto the Brooklands straight. And yes, he's got the job done, and here comes the Aston as well, although he did run wide through Abbey, through the fast right-hander on the start-finish straight. If you didn't catch it in your screen, he did actually run wide, and he was off the track fully at one point, but managed to re-get back on, and he's now on the back of Amato as well. Let's jump on
Beautiful
board.
battle, unexpected I will say also.
Where is it? P21 is the Lamborghini actually of Chiesa. He's waiting for these guys to kick off in front of him a bit more so he can get that 1.4 seconds back up to the front, but here we go on board with DeSantis. He's having a go. You can see the rain light for some reason flashing away on Amato, and he's gone in a bit hot into there, and I think he might have the run, you know, out of Beckett's and into Chapel we go, and down the Hanger Straight now under the famous Hanger Straight bridge, the route into the circuit for many spectators.
He accidentally hit the switch of the rain light.
Yes, I think he has. In the panic of this battle, he's out. Oh, and it's got to have to be contact, surely. Is the contact? I'm not sure, but it looked like Amato actually almost had to open the door because DeSantis was there, but I don't think he did anything wrong, so to speak. I just think Amato got it wrong mid-corner, and the Ferrari stepped out on him, and he had to get out of it, so gifting the position to DeSantis there, and that is now allowing the Lamborghini to catch up in P21.
In the meantime, Trifiglia and Capoccia looks like they are still friends. Trifiglia has been able to stretch for 4/10 on margin on Capoccia, but Janfress has been able to keep the gap on the 5-second mark. Not bad, I would say, considering the level of the guys in front.
Yeah, so he's lapping at the moment in 2:01. Last lap was a 2:0.2, sorry.
Dondi slowly catching Bilancini. I remember a few laps ago it was 1 second and 0.2. Now it's half a second, so I was expecting a pair of laps to get on Bilancini to try to get back in the top 7.
Yeah, you've just seen as well Bilancini run a little bit wide through Chapel. He kicked up a bit of dirt, and that's allowed the Ferrari of Dondi to have a bit of a run on him. I don't know if he's going to look into Stowe or not. I don't think he has. They've just gone out of shot on the back end now.
A bit wide, Bilancini here.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I agree. He's wide and he's out of track limits there, but he's going to defend the inside regardless. He's going to make Dondi work hard for it around the outside, which he's going to go for through Vale. Is he going to be given room? Oh, he backed out of it, you know. He had to get out of that one. He knew Bilancini was going to cut him off, but in the background there, we've actually got Semeraro. And who's that there?
Semeraro and Carturan.
Carturan. No, yes, the Aston 933. He's under pressure here. And the Aston's fully committed through Abbey there. Yes, so he's actually managed to hold position, and Dondi, you can see just ahead, was still on the back of Bilancini.
In the meantime, seeing people on the boxes like Carmanetti stopped, I think, like he has retired. There is Chiattarella in seeing also in the pits, and Chiesa also in the pits. I don't know if they are doing some a strategy pit, but it doesn't seem, because we aren't yet at the half race mark, so it doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, because I think they'd be running around on a lot higher fuel than everyone else then as well. If they did that, I think the ideal strategy would be to take half the race fuel and then half again, if you could, and avoid carrying any extra weight around with you, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see if he comes back out into the race in a second. And we've actually got Natari now in the pit lane as well, in P17. Yes, he is. Let's see if he can hit his marks then, if they have to move him at all. It looks like he has been in his box perfectly fine, so he's now getting service. So we'll see where he returns out as well.
Yeah, we're nearing the half of the race. It's a bit, I think, of an anticipated stop, this one, because I was expecting 10 minutes later maybe. But let's see if all the drivers are starting to come in.
Yeah, it could spark a round of pit stops quite easily, but we'll see what happens. We've still got this battle between Capoccia and Trifiglia, battling for 4th and 5th. He's still having a good result here either way, even if he does drop to 5th, is Angelo, but he's got some pressure from behind. I don't know if the Ferrari's going to have a little look this time around. Possibly. No, not quite. It wasn't quite close enough. Just trying to look where the other battles mainly are. It looks like Semerano's still got company in P9. We'll have a flick to that one. Yes, he does, yeah.
And also Dondi, it's in the exhaust of Bilancini. Notari still in the pits.
Yes, it is, yeah. That's a long stop, that is. If it is indeed a scheduled stop, it might not be.
Notari quite long. I'm not seeing actually the time that they had stopped, but they are there. I think he's been there for more than a minute. I think it's an unusual long pit stop. Well, those GT cars are quite long to be serviced, especially when the crew it's limited to the two mechanics for tire. They are running around the car, changing each tire at a time.
Yeah, individual tyre swaps, isn't it, in this game? So a bit of more of a lengthy pit stop. Well, we've got someone in the chat, Marco in the chat, saying Forza Puzzarini. So we'll give him a little shout out. He is running currently in P17 at the moment. It looks like he's actually side by side with someone. Who is that he's side by side with right now? It's Monaco.
No,
yes.
Sorry, it's Moretti.
Moretti, yes, the 192 Aston. Looks like he's got up ahead of him actually now. There looks to be a bit of damage on that Aston Martin as well. If you look at the left-hand side, the left-hand door card, and the Porsche closing up under braking. He isn't quite able to get up past him, but he's going to have a good run through here onto the main, the new start-finish straight. He's not going to have a go into Abbey, I don't think, but possibly after that he could have a little look up the inside. But there's definitely damage on the left-hand side pod of that and the door of the Aston ahead of him. So if you can see that yourself,
likely a scrap with some other car in the first part of the race.
Here we go then. So the Aston went a bit tight in. The Porsche gets good traction out of the tight left-hander, and he's going to have an excellent run here now. The Aston's thinking about defending. He goes middle of the road. Is the Porsche going to be able to eke his way up the inside? I think he's going to have a go, is he? No, not quite. He's a bit far back. He's going to try and get a good run through here, though, and have a run out of Luffield and potentially down into Copse. This is probably the closest battle in the field at the moment for P16 and 15 and 16. So we'll stick with this one a little minute. We'll go on board with him.
Also, Dondi on Bilancini. There is a nice bunch of couple of drivers that will lead to some spectacular duel, but not enough close. I think that everyone is in the mindset of the pit stop right now, because we are nearing out of the race and they are thinking about your to hit the correct Jack spot mark.
Yeah, hit the pit box as cleanly as they can. That'll be in the back of every driver's mind. I know certainly when I'm driving and in a pit stop race, it's in the back of my mind probably about 5 or 10 minutes before pitting. And it looks like the Aston's ran wide here, and we've got Puzzarini's going to go for the inside into Vale and the side-by-side. And is he going to add any more damage to that Aston? I don't think so. But the side-by-side's still on the exit, and the Porsche is hanging it around the outside, and the Ferrari's now getting involved. Monaco coming in the Ferrari in the 808 car. And then you've got DeSantis as well in the Aston Martin. This is turning into a cracking battle here. But it's looking like Puzzarini hits the Aston. Oh, and he's on two wheels. What's happened there? Is he going to regather it or collect anyone? No, he's managed to just avoid the other cars. But what happened there? It looked like he just hit the rear of the Aston Martin. He's waited for him to rejoin has Puzzarini, but unfortunately, Marco in the chat, you were chanting for Puzzarini, and he looks like he's pulling over, and that could be the end of his race. Yeah. Unfortunately, after me just doing, that's what you call a commentator's curse. I've just gone to say about how good this battle's going to turn out to be, and there's been contact through the new first corner, which is Abbey, and unfortunately, that has put them both way down now. So I think it was who was it? It was Moretti, wasn't it? He is still going.
Moretti, yes.
So 18th position. So that's now allowed Monaco up into 15th, DeSantis into 16th, and Amato is in the pit lane actually. So we can go to him quickly. He is trundling down pit lane right now, as you can see.
Yep.
And let's see whether he can hit his marks. I don't think it doesn't help that we can't see the pit guys going to work, but we'll see if he gets moved at all. It doesn't look like he has, but he is now in the pits. So we'll see where Amato comes out. It seems a lot of these guys further afield in sort of 15th position downwards are going for these earlier stops to try and potentially make up ground later in the race. I'm not sure where their strategy sits. So it looks like everyone's kind of running their own race really.
Yeah, but from the strategy from a strategy standpoint, I don't think there is much more space to try to come up with something different from the others. In the meantime, Amato has coming down from the jacks. He stopped on the spot for 42 seconds. So when Notari stopped, I think that probably he stayed so much long in the pit lane because of some kind of repair. So expect 45 seconds stopped for a car stopped on the pit stop, and at the entry and the coming out time, I think that a complete stop it will take about 1 minute and 10 seconds, more or less.
Yeah, that would sound about right, I would think. So we've gone back to the battle now for 5th place, which is Capoccia and Trafilio for 4th and 5th. And it looks like these guys have actually dropped off from the leaders, but now it seems like Montalbano in 2nd and Porter in 3rd have actually been able to hold their own against Luca Lozio in the lead, and it's looking like Capoccia's going to go down the inside into Vale, but not quite. Nearly edged his way past, but couldn't quite do it. He didn't want to take out Angelo with any drastic move, so he slotted back in behind him. But fair racing all round.
Yeah, and I think that except from mistakes or let's say the normal agonistic trance of the drivers, until now we saw quite a nice fair play from all the drivers involved.
I don't think we've seen anything too questionable whatsoever. The only driver we've seen a bit of contact from was Luca Lozio, and he's in the lead. He's still in visible distance though of Montalbano and Porter. Porter's now closed the gap to 2 seconds actually to the 2nd place man. So he's definitely wanting to get on the back of him if he can, or potentially put him under some pressure just before the pit stops, because they should be rolling around any time now. We're into the final hour of the race. 1 minute gone in that final hour. We've got a few battles on track to look at. So as we said earlier, we had
in the meantime from the chat they are asking us if the driver will be able to get until the end without stopping, but it's clearly not possible because the cars didn't have enough fuel tank to reach the end of the race. But anyway, with the tires that they are actually mounting, it wouldn't be possible to reach the end of the race without losing massive time in tire performance. So it's clearly a race where everybody will have to stop at least one time.
Yeah, even if they didn't want to take tyres, they would have to definitely take fuel, because I feel like most fuel tank sizes on these cars are around an hour and 10 worth of running. So we should definitely see people pitting no later than, I would say, how long left? 35 minutes remaining.
Yes.
But you're going to want to come in before then anyway, because as far as I'm aware, tyres will last around... You can get them to last an hour and a half. However, you do then suffer potential blowouts, so the tyres can literally explode and you will have to crawl back to the pits if you even survive the crash that happens somehow. So there's that to be aware of, and it's especially where the tyres are worn. If you start taking too much curb, that's another way that they can actually burst the tyre and delaminate. Anything can happen, yeah. So really, you don't want to be running the tyres any longer than an hour and 15. So again, that takes you to that sort of half an hour remaining mark. So really, you want to do half your race, have fuel for, say, probably around 50 minutes, and then fuel for another 50 minutes. That will pretty much take you. He's flashing the lights, Semerano is, on Dondi. Just seeing it with a little bit of a blink of the light, letting him know he's there. But yeah, you would definitely try and split the strategy as in the middle as possible. So we should see most of these drivers in the pits all within the space of about a 2 or 3 lap window.
Dondi in the pit.
Yeah, just as we mentioned in pits, Dondi's in the pit lane now, and he's hit the brakes very hard. And to be honest, I don't.
Penalty.
No, so he's actually, he braked way too early. Then he actually nearly come to a stop.
Also Montalbano in the pits.
Round the corner, the pit speed lane limiter. Sorry, the pit lane speed limit doesn't begin until the straight of the pits. So he looked like he's going to lose time there, Dondi is. I'm going to be very interested now to see where he feeds out when everyone else around him pits, because he came in, hit the brakes hard, almost came to a complete stop, then saw that the speed limiter markers were further down, so he then sped up again and then braked again. So he's probably lost himself a good 5 seconds or more in that one section alone. But Montalbano is in the pit lane as well, just a little bit further ahead. You can see there in the Porsche. We'll see where he rejoins. We'll probably watch him rejoin actually, because he should be leaving the pit lane probably in the next 5-6 seconds or something, maybe. I'm hoping, because otherwise we're going to flick away. It looks like
Montalbano was clearly in front of Dondi, and Dondi starts
away
before Montalbano.
Yes. So Montalbano from P2 is still sat in pit lane. Is he taking more fuel? Is he changing tyres? To be fair, Dondi may not have changed tyres. We don't know.
I think maybe Montalbano has a problem, because I saw him going on the parking spot. The car was raised, and then immediately the car was dropped. And I don't know what he's doing, actually.
Do you know, well, what you do have to do in this game is
now
you have to... It's now going.
He has lost a massive amount of time.
Yes, he has. Yeah, that's really, really unfortunate for Montalbano, because he was sitting in P2. He's now down in 18th position, and I believe a few of them have already pitted, to be honest. I feel like Amato is probably one of the guys who's pitted as well already, and he's probably right behind him now, is he? Let's have a quick look. Where is he? P19 is Amato.
To me, this one smells of a little messed up with the menu of the pit stop. What do you think? Maybe he has mistaken something, and he stayed on the pit spot way much longer than he needed.
Yeah, because you do have to select what services you want when in the pit lane. So you do have to have tyres selected if you want it. You do have to have the fuel selected, and also like the pressures and things like that. You can adjust quite a lot in this game, but that looks like an absolute disaster, unfortunately, for Montalbano.
Sorry, Eden. From the chat, there is Giuseppe Montalbano. I think it's an associate of Montalbano, and probably it's maybe in the same room with him, that says that he has gone against the wall, losing the car. So probably he had some damage that he was forced to repair. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yes, that would make sense then. So he is back underway then without a damaged car. It doesn't look to be too much visual damage, so whatever the damage was could well have been fixed. It could have just been minor bumper damage or something, but that can still be costly in the pit lane. But as I was saying though, Amato, he's been in the pit lane already, and he is ahead by about 1.5 seconds from Montalbano now, so that's very unfortunate. But we're going to have to keep an eye on the leaders especially, because as we've just seen, people are... Yeah, Lozio in the pit lane then. So he's pretty much lost a lap as Montalbano, because Montalbano's only just gone through Copse now. So Lozio going to be looking to rejoin, hopefully, somewhere where he can challenge them for the lead. We'll see.
I think the Montalbano stayed in the pits, I think, 30 or 40 seconds more than a normal pit stop, because he had a lot of damage to repair.
So we've got Semerano in the pit lane as well. He's just... Looks like Lozio's back going again, so that was a very good pit stop, very clean. He's not been there too long at all, and he's making his way down pit lane now. We're going to see if anyone's coming down the start-finish, which they are. Is he going to rejoin behind them? Yes, I think he probably will do. Yeah, that's not ideal, because that's going to be... Who's ahead of him? It's going to be...
Actually, is he after Carturan? No, I think it's way more back in the field, but the tower takes an awful lot of time to update, so we will have to wait for everybody to stop to have a clear picture of what's happening. Also from the chat, I spot a message that it was Giuseppe himself that he was chatting while racing, stopping in the pit, so he said to us in real time what happened.
Right, okay, so so he was in the pits for that long, he was able to get
Just
in the chat and
imagine
ask.
he's screaming at the mechanics and say that the journalist coming there to ask him what happened. I crashed.
Right. That would make sense for such a long stop then. We'll
Yeah.
see here now Angelo peeling off into the pit lane ahead of Capoccia.
Porta
So
also in the pits.
it looks like Angelo knows where the pit limiter marker is, because that's half the battle, you know. You do have to practice this pit in. Pit in is so drastic, you can lose so much time when charging into the pit lane, and obviously each pit entry is different to each other, so really for pit stop races you do have to practice that kind of thing to hit your marks as late as possible, so you're not losing any time to anyone. If you give up too much time on the way in, as we saw one of the other drivers do, I think it was Dondi.
Yep.
If you look now, he's down in 13th at the moment. We'll see if he gets back up to around 7th or 8th where he was, because
he was
he was.
behind Bilancini.
Yeah, so we'll see if he feeds back out behind him or not, because his pit entry wasn't that brilliant, but Angelo managed to nail it there. So there goes Lozio, I think's just gone through. Yes, he did. Lozio's just gone through turn
Porta
1.
Trifiglio are coming out of the pits now. Porta has just started, and Trifiglio is moving right now.
Yes, he is. So
it would be interesting to see if Trifiglio will be able to keep in front of Capoccia after this stop.
Yeah, we will keep an eye on that for you.
Because now the Trifiglio-Capoccia battle smells of a podium when after the Montalbano mashup.
Yeah, so you can see there visually, if you remember, Montalbano was ahead of Trafilio, and Trafilio has come out in 7th, and Montalbano is 17th. So he's lost heaps of time. You're talking probably about a minute, I would say, maybe even more than that.
Maybe yes, I think a minute or a minute and 10, 15 seconds. It takes a lot of time to repair the damage. We completely missed the mistake of Montalbano. I don't know in which part of the race happened. Maybe he has made a mistake coming back in the pits and possibly he has gone to the wall. Maybe
could well be. Could well be. I'm thinking it might have been out of the final corner coming into the pit lane. He may have lit the rears up and gone into the wall as he's been trying to peel off into the pit lane. That's what I'm thinking. That's the only time I think we weren't sort of keeping an eye on him.
In the meantime, Capoccia first, Gianfred second, Bilancini third. There is glory also for the mid-pack guys, in particular Gianfred and Bilancini, and I will say not Capoccia, is one of the front runner. But good job nonetheless.
Yeah, to be in their positions at the moment. I was hoping to see one of them peel off in the pits, but none of them have yet. But we've got Bilancini. He's got a clear road ahead of him, but he does have Coturan and now Lozio, I believe it is he? Is that Lozio catching? No, Lozio is quite a way back, so there's a few other guys somewhere in there. Oh, Moretti coming in the pit lane now from 7th. See how he attacks the pit entry, and he does, and he hits the wall on the way in. Wow, that was a bit scrappy coming in then. He's overshot it on the way in, hit the brakes far too late, and bounced off the wall, and that Aston Martin is looking a bit worse for wear, to be honest.
Maybe the same mistake of Montalbano. We will ask him after the race.
Could well be. We'll have to find out from Montalbano himself, I think, what actually happened there. But we will go back to Gianfrest, who's got company, not quite actually, from Bilancini.
And looking at the back of the grid, but not seeing some exciting duels. Thing for last. There is the Colombo and De Blasio actually battling.
Yes, I've just flicked to them. So there's only 0.2 of a second between those guys. So I think he's actually just made his way past Colombo. I think Colombo actually did just lose a position to De Blasio.
Capoccia in the pit.
Right, here we go then. Here we go then, everybody. We've got Capoccia in the pit lane, as we've got a couple of other drivers in the pit lane as well. Bilancini and Coturan are also in the pit lane. Looks like he's hit his marks. He's also got his rain light flashing away for some strange reason. But we'll
And
see
Trefilio is
where. So
pushing.
where is now the battle? Who was he battling? It was who was the driver that we were keeping an eye on? It was Angelo, wasn't it? Angelo, where is he? Here he is. So he's coming down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. So we'll keep an eye on him. When does Capoccia leave pit lane? That's the question, because he's coming around the final two corners now. Is Angelo Trefilio?
Capoccia dropped from the jacks right now.
Wow, right, okay, so obviously he's got to get out of there, end of pit lane, exit a Luffield. Comes Angelo. He's going to be coming down the start-finish straight. We're going to go to Helicam, so we can potentially see Capoccia rejoining at the same time. He's gone. He's out of the pit lane.
In front. Yes.
Yes, he is. He's already well gone. He's actually in Maggots and Beckett's already, so Angelo losing a lot of time in the pit lane as well. These guys, they've managed to... obviously, Capoccia could potentially take less fuel because he came in later, but it won't be drastically different in terms of the pit time. It's obviously this whole hitting your marks when you're coming into pit lane, and also on the way in, on the pit entry, nailing that entrance and trying to get the line there. And it looks like Porter has now resumed in P2, effective P2, because Jean-Frest hasn't pitted yet, and Lozio is now yes, well in the lead. By looking at that, says 12.3 seconds, so he's gained massive amounts of time. His pit stop must have been excellent to gain, we're talking probably about 8 or so seconds, 7 or 8 seconds on Porter in P2. So, actually no, so Porter was P3, wasn't he? So he was more like 4 or 5 seconds back from Lozio. So Lozio's probably gained about 6 seconds in the pit lane.
Honestly, I didn't remember if Porta was second or third when they were running before the Montalbano had the problem at the pit stop.
Yeah, I think it was Porter. It was in third. Because Montalbano would have been in second, wouldn't he? So all the gaps now opening up a little bit, and it looks like the only man under pressure in the top 10 is probably this man here, Angelo.
From Carturan.
Yeah, he's looking like he's under pressure, and he's dabbing the brakes through Brooklands, and he's gonna get nearly had a look. Did the Aston into Luffield, and actually Angelo's having a terrible time of it here, and the Aston's on the grass coming out of Luffield, trying to get by him. He's having a run down the main straight. He's having a look into Copse. Not going to have a go there, surely, and a bit wide from Angelo, and Angelo's all over the place here, and he's going to gift him the position, I think, unless he can keep his nose ahead into Maggots and Beckett's. We're going to go TV camera and just see if we can see this side by side, and there's contact! Massive contact, and Angelo goes off on the grass, and so does Carturan, and that is not how we expected that one to go.
Nope.
Not at all, and Trefilio manages to rejoin the track. He's gone off over the gravel and rejoined just after Chapel, and that's gifted Dondi a position now as well.
How Trefilio's car is still running? He got a smash from the right side.
Yeah, very surprised that he was able to even keep that in a straight line, to be honest with you. He's done well to gather that up, but it looked like he was struggling. I don't know whether it's because he may not have taken tyres or something, but he was wide through Copse, which gave Carturan a bit of a run on him. But I think Angelo still actually had his nose ahead, so in theory the other guy should have got out of it and chose not to, and going too wide through Maggots and Beckett normally is a bit of a Larry one, and
I'm taking a look to the replay.
Yeah, have a little look and just see what you can get.
To check it, because in my opinion here, I can clearly see Angelo that stayed, that gave quite a lot of room to Carturan, but Angelo at a certain point has to prepare to the line for Beckett's. And absolutely, Carturan comes committed but too fast in my opinion, and literally smashes Angelo's car out of the track. Angelo also passes through the track without touching anyone, but in my opinion, Carturan has been quite optimistic in his attack, and I'm I'm thinking they are having quite a lot of damage, but
Yeah, I would imagine they're both going to have damage from that, to be honest with you. But it was a big hit on the side of Angelo's car, and Corturan, I'm surprised that Aston Martin even has a front end left on it after that one, because it doesn't surprisingly, it doesn't look like it's even that damaged. But I would imagine definitely in the game it will say to him that he's got damage. And funnily enough, it's 2.0. Here we go again. Corturan versus Trafilio, and it's Trafilio just leading into Stowe. But are we going to see fireworks again, do you think?
yeah, I think Angelo will be a little bit unimpressed. Are you English fella say about the move of Carturan? I don't think he will make it. He will make it too easy. There it goes. But it depends on the amount of the damage that they both had on the car.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what it says to me is that Angelo's actually came off worse in terms of damage, because he looks the slower of the two, just purely because he didn't spin. He was able to keep it going over the grass and the gravel in a straight line, and Corturan did spin and lost heaps and heaps of time as Corturan tries to squeeze it down the inside, and the side by side again through the kink here now. Is he going to give him the room? Angelo's got to give him the room, surely, and he does. So that means he's going to have the inside now for Brooklands. And yeah, it looks like Angelo's going to concede the position, and just see what the stewards have to say about it afterwards, because unfortunately that's taken Angelo out of the podium places contention, because he was running, as we said, P3 for P4 for a long time, and then he inherited P3, and then after the pit stops, that bit of an incident has cost him. But we've got Sembrano, actually, he's just moved up a position ahead of Dondi, I think. He's now up into 6th. Not sure if they were that way around before, but they've got a bit of ground to make up to Bilancini and Capoccia ahead of them. But looks like Jean-Fres staying out for a long time. He's still in P1, but he's going to have to pit sometime around now. He's been on those tyres and fuel for 1 hour and 5 minutes.
More
so he's
than
not
anyone.
going to have... Yeah, he's done the most of anyone, and he's definitely going to have to come in soon, because he genuinely won't be able to carry on any longer. I'm sure he would like to in the lead of the race, putting lead laps onto his by his name, but I'm guessing we'll see him in a lap or two, definitely. But the race kind of settling down a little bit. There's still a few close battles, but you would expect it to settle down over this amount of time.
Gaps are stretching a bit, so we are entering the last part of the race. A bit of a shame what happened between Trifilio and Carturan, because the race, the battle would have raged on at least for some more laps. They were on more or less on the same pace.
It's looking here like for 12th place, Colombo and DeSantis has actually closed up on him now in the Aston Martin, and it looks like the Porsche was just squirreling around a little bit on the exit of Stowe. He was getting a little bit loose, so he's...
maybe we have a situation between De Blasio and Tozzato in 10 and 11 position.
Yep,
Two Mercedes.
Yes, 2 Mercedes indeed, and we've got him the black Mercedes of De Blasio, and who's the number 10 car?
Tozzato, Luca Tozzato.
Tozzato, sorry.
Tozzato.
So he's actually defending now down into Brooklands. Here we go again. Got another battle into Brooklands. These are mainly good overtaking spots. Stowe, here, and Vale, your main ones. So everyone's trying to get the move done here, and he's going to try and potentially now get the cutback on the silver Mercedes coming out of Luffield. He's going to get a good run. Is he going to get his nose ahead? He is just about. He's on the grass coming through Woodcott, and he's actually giving room. Has the 224 Mercedes. He's giving the space, and he's actually now got the inside for Copse. That should be move done and dusted. Yes, he is, and he's ahead. So don't run wide through Copse, and neither of them did. Just about. And is he going to re-attack him? Oh, all over the curb. All over the curbs and grass from De Blasio. Now, big cut there. He's probably going to get a track limits warning there, trying to extend the gap before. Oh, and wide from the 224 car as well. But yeah, they're still glued together, but job done for the moment. Let's jump up to Dondi, because he is right behind Semeraro, sorry.
Semeraro. Also De Santis, it's on the back of Luca Colombo.
Yeah, we saw that battle just a minute ago. It is quite close though now. That is for the 12th and 13th place. We'll quickly skip back to that battle. Coming out of Vale, it's the Aston versus the Porsche, and the lights are ablaze on
He's
both
flashing.
cars. See him flashing, yeah. And he's all over the curb actually on the exit, trying to get a run on the Porsche. How are they going to handle Abbey? Both of them take it reasonably well. If anything, the Aston was a little bit wide, missed the apex a tiny bit. He's still there, all over the back of him. The Porsche, right middle of the road, doesn't want to give him the inside in any way, shape or form. We've got someone in the chat telling us that Montalbano has an engine issue. He can't go over 240 kilometers an hour.
Poor guy.
So that is his race done and dusted. He's in 14th actually. He's behind this battle. He's right here. You can see this battle we're watching right ahead. There he is. It doesn't seem he's actually catching the guys ahead we were just talking about.
And likely it's him chatting himself while driving, likely. No, joking.
Let's see if we can see this whole issue of 240 kilometers an hour, because surely he'll be getting 240 down here across the start finish line. He looks to actually be closing, if anything, on the Aston ahead. So a bit of a strange issue or problem with his car, but we'll see if he can all of a sudden stick the move on De Santis for 13th. Dondi awfully close though. We're going to quickly flick up to Dondi. He's here. He's awfully close to the back of Semeraro. Sorry, it isn't an N. I keep saying it with an N, and it's not an N at the end. So.
Oh, look at Montalbano. Look at Montalbano before the stove.
Quickly. Where is he? There he is. Oh, and they've touched. I've just seen it. Just about. I managed to get the camera on the bash doors, and Amato's there now as well.
Right try from Montalbano. It clearly has a nice edge on those drivers. You see, he's getting back.
Yes, he's got him on the exit. The Aston Martin ahead, struggling like mad, and that's going to give Amato a bit of a sniff of hope here as well in the blue Ferrari. He's going to be coming to try and pinch that P14 off him as well. We'll quickly have a look at him. On board with him.
It's important to remember one thing about the classification of the driver. I'm saying this for your followers that aren't familiar.
Contact between Amato and De Santis. He's just tagged him around, and he's actually, he's let him through. Fair play to Amato there. He's gone up the inside, a very, very acute angle into the tight left-hander. He was almost on the grass actually on the entry, and he's just touched the back of De Santis, and then gratefully give the position back to him because he knew that was unsportsmanlike behaviour, so to speak, and he will probably get him in the next lap or two anyway, because it really does look like De Santis in the Aston is struggling here. Not sure whether he's changed tyres, because also one of the other things, as we were saying earlier in the stream, to bear in mind is the braking. It depends what brake pads these guys have taken as well. If they're struggling on the brakes, that could massively affect their lap times. And we'll just give a quick shout out as well to this man, P5, Jean Frest. He has now come out of the pit lane. It looks like he pitted last lap because his last lap was 2 minute 57.9. So he's been in the pit lane, he's back out again, and he's only 1.7 behind Bilancini.
There is also a nice group between Carturan and Dondi.
Yeah, so we can flick to that one. There we go.
Montalbano right on the back of Colombo.
Is he actually on the back of him as well? Wow, Montalbano, considering he's got this issue, he's actually up the inside into Vale.
It doesn't seem as an issue at all, because...
No, it doesn't seem to, does he? Yeah, he's managing to get the moves done, and he's just past Colombo, so not struggling as much as we first thought anyway, because he's back up into 12th. Let's see if he can break into the top 10 in the last half an hour, or not.
I was explaining before about the point system of exportseries.net for the people that aren't familiar with that. It's important to notice that basically all the drivers of the grid are basically getting points by by passing under the checkered flag, because the first one that arrived get 50 points, then 40, 38, 36, 32. So in a short championship like this one, it's also important not to give up if a race goes in the way you want, like it's happening to Montalbano, or also at Dondi for the contact at the start of the race, because also a good placement like in 7th position or in 12th position also, it's paying good points, and it could make a big difference at the end of the championship when you sum up of the points and one of your opponents, for example, didn't make it until the end of the race and got a full retirement with a 0 on his point table.
Exactly that. It rewards you for consistency throughout the season. If you can consistently score good points, then you're definitely in with a chance at the end. And you can see now Dondi trying to catch Semeraro for 6th place, and he did actually make a mistake going into Vale, as you were saying that, and that allowed Corturan on the back of him, but he's managed to hold off. And I can just see now in the chat.
Wait.
Light rain.
Look at the forecast. Yes,
light rain in 10 minutes. Now, things will get spicy if that happens, because they'll have two options. Is the rain going to be heavy enough to force them to pit, or do they stay out on dry tyres? That's the question. It depends how hard that rain falls and how quickly standing water generates, because if the standing water comes and the puddles begin, then you can definitely expect people will be pitting once again for wet tyres. I would assume all of them are fueled to the end of the race, because they wouldn't have been expecting rain, I don't think. They wouldn't have been banking on a definite, dead certain pit stop once again. So I would think they'll all have fuel. It will just be a dart into the pits for tyres, for wet tyres, and then back out on track again, I would think. But we'll have to wait and see. Dondi at the moment, he's going to want to get ahead of the Ferrari ahead of him. Just see if he can get after Jean-Fres, because Jean-Fres, I think Jean-Fres is actually quite a bit clear, you know, of these guys, even though he was kind of in this battle with these before. Because he was out in the lead for so long, yeah, so it's 11 seconds, 11.4 seconds to Jean-Fres. Jean-Fres is pretty much in a race of his own. He's 11.5 seconds ahead of this battle, but he's at nearly 17 seconds behind Bilancini. So
yeah, Bilancini also got in. I don't understand how Bilancini got at the end of the day in 4th position.
Yeah, he's done
because
really well.
It was looking like a bit of an underdog out of the top 7, top 8, and he got advantage of the issues of Montalbano, Dondi, Trifilio, also the crash with Carturan, and good work by Bilancini, because a 4th place it's gold in a championship like this.
Yeah, so you can see on screen, I've just put up the timetable board, so you can see where everyone is. We have actually lost 6 drivers. So I've had a whisper saying about the rain in 10 minutes. So potential rain coming soon. So
basically, we could expect the last 10-15 minutes of the race on a wet tarmac.
Exactly that. Will it be wet enough for wet tyres, though? That's
it
the
wouldn't
question.
be in their shoes, honestly.
It wouldn't be a British race at Silverstone without a sprinkling of rain.
Clearly.
So, yeah, I'm thinking that it's kind of inevitable that we were going to have some rain at Silverstone. It's normally the case, and you can see the clouds have now gone really, really dark, actually. So
I was thinking about Capoccia. Look at how Capoccia is not that far from Porta and Losio.
Yes, so Losio has actually lost heaps of time, you know. He's lost heaps of time.
Maybe he has done some mistake that we didn't notice. because
Potentially, yes. Look at Porter going. He's really catching him.
Yeah, was way behind Porta, and also Capoccia. They were way behind. But Porta, it's coming on Lozio.
I'm going to check Lozio's last lap time when he crosses the line and it updates, because I feel like he might have made a mistake on this lap, and that's why we haven't noticed. Let's see what happens here. Does he feel on the pit lane or anything? No, he doesn't. But you can see Porter's catching him hand over fist at the moment. He was about 11 seconds clear of him, and he's now only, what's that, 0.4 of a second across the line. So Lozio had with a massive problem. Lozio
his damage, maybe.
Last lap, you know, his last lap was a 2-minute 0.9, so it wasn't slow by any means. So we've obviously missed wherever he made a mistake, or he's either been off the track, he's either not taken tyres and losing heaps of time, which doesn't look to be the case though, because of his last lap time being, you know, pretty decent. So really strange circumstances as to how Porter's got on the back of him. We're not sure, but we're sure we'll find out after. But yeah, Porter looking here at a P1 position with 25 minutes to go.
Great chance for him. Also for Capoccia, because Capoccia is gaining on Porta. Look at Porta.
Coming down the outside into Vale, is he? Yes, he is. He's trying to do it. Will Lozio give him any room? No, he doesn't. He cuts him off. And that's allowed the Aston now to have a run on the Porsche. Coming down the main straight, he's going to actually jink out to the inside. He's alongside, you know, here. This could be interesting into Abbey.
And this
he's got through. He's through into P1. Is he going to fight back? Is Lozio going to try and send it down the outside of him? No, he isn't. He's actually conceded the position, you know, and allowing him to go. Is he going to come up the inside? No. And Porter with a very defensive tight line into there, and that's going to give Capoccia, you know, watch Capoccia here. He's going to have a bit of a run, I think, maybe on the Porsche. Not quite, because the Porsche has got the slipstream on the Aston ahead of it. So here we go then. We've got 24.5 minutes to go. We've got 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 positions after 1 hour and 20 minutes of racing so far. We've got, this is the gap, half a second between 3 cars after 1 hour and 20 of racing. Absolutely brilliant.
Lozio, it's clearly in crisis because something happened. I don't see any clear damage on the car, but something happened to him because he lost completely the pace. Look at Capoccia.
Yeah, Capoccia alongside him now. Is he going to try it? Yes, he is. Oh, he's had to brake though mid-corner, and they're giving each other far too much space. They're giving each other, they've been far too courteous to each other actually there. They could have been way closer, and they're close now on the exit. Oh, and Chapel Curve proving in favour of the Ferrari, but to be fair, I think they didn't want to have any kind of big accident there, but that's allowed Porter to get up into the lead now and check out to a 1.5 second lead. So he's going to be looking in his mirror and saying to himself, where have those guys just gone? So bit of a turn of events now for Porter to take the lead and extend as well. So brilliant bit of an effort from him. I'm just going to quickly see, is it Jean-Frest on the back of Bill? Yes, he is. He's on the back of him nearly. Bilancini, he's I thought he had a massive gap to Jean-Frest, but he hasn't. So Jean-Frest potentially on for a P4 after he started the race. I think it was P7 he was in for a long time, and he's gradually gone forwards. So he's over the race distance gone forwards in the standings. But
I don't know where to look
actually,
because there is Carturan and Dondi quite near each other.
Yeah, that battle's been raging on for a good few laps now, as Semeraro, Dondi and Carturan, they've all been kind of close, so we've been keeping an eye on that one. But just having a look at Montalbano now, closing up on the back of the silver Mercedes of Tazzato. And he's within 0.7 of a second.
I think something is about to happen between Dondi and Semeraro. There they go. Dondi picks his nose, but it's too far.
Yeah, not going to dive bomb him there. He knows it. The problem Dondi's got here is he's got Carturan filling the mirrors behind him, and then he's got Semeraro, who's in for the taking ahead of him, so he doesn't know how hard he should attack. Like, if he attacks and makes a mistake, Corteran's through. But if he sits there and holds him up, he could potentially come under threat anyway. So we'll just have to see what his tactics are. But he's definitely quick enough to be, as we've seen already, leading the race like he was at the beginning.
I think that Capoccia is seen for something quite special, because he got 4/10 out of Porta, and this guy could
mistake
be in for a win.
Mistake from Semeraro. He's just gone wide in Maggots and Beckett's, but he has held position to Corteran. Sorry to cut you off, but he basically checked up, and Dondi went sailing through. I want to quickly change camera, if we can, to the closer camera. Here we go. Yeah, so we've got Corteran now right on the back of him, and he's going to try down the inside into Vale, and they're touching, and he door bangs him off the track. Corteran with another bit of contact. Another bit of contact with another driver. This time it was with Semeraro, and he's managed to get back on the track. Unfortunately, there he's flashing the lights. Semeraro's not happy with him there. By the looks of things, I'm not surprised. He's give him space, I think, into there, and they've made contact with a bit of a, wasn't necessarily a late move, but because he was close enough, he's still flashing the lights now. So another bit of contact. I'm surprised Corteran's car is as tough as it is. It's still running. He's had some heavy contacts so far, but Dondi will be smiling at that, because he is now well clear, but you can see on your screen spots of rain.
It's more in clean air, actually, Dondi.
Yes, he's in clean air, but it is raining now. That's the problem. It's now raining. You can see the spots. It's actually raining.
Mistake of Capoccia has gone a bit on the grass. Clearly, now the tarmac it's wet, and it started raining, and it doesn't look like so light rain, I think.
Yeah, we'll see if the guys feel the need to come in for tyres. It's going to be a frantic pit lane if this rain gets too heavy for them, and they have to pit for dry tyres. But if you look at the lead gap, Porter checking out to a 3.6 second advantage now. What a drive from Porter.
It's the effect, also the effect of the mistake that has done Capoccia, because he cut on the grass a large part of the track, half lap or go.
Yeah, so all of the gaps now pretty much over a second, apart from this battle we're watching now, which is for P2, and also the Janfres battle as well, which is, he looks to be within about half a second of Bilancini. There's no need for the wipers yet, though, according to Janfres.
I'm seeing some drivers actually that are using the wipers somehow.
Right, Janfres isn't at the moment. You can see the water streaming off the windscreen, though. When he's on the straight, do you know he's got a really good chance here at Bilancini. Bilancini's been a little bit tight on that tight left-hander on the Wellington straight now, and it looks like Janfrest's actually was pulled to the inside. He's lost ground to him down the Wellington straight. So he's just kind of letting him know that he's there, not thinking to do anything too aggressive.
Great work, by the way, from Alessandro Porta, of the racing line of the sport. He's been able to get advantage of the issue of the others, and he's in front. Now he has to keep his nerve, because the rain seems to intensify, and he's flashing to a back marker. Now it's a decision time, I think, for everybody about the tires.
Definitely, yeah. We're going to have to keep an eye on lap times, I think, because I reckon the cut-off window for wet to dry would probably be around a 2:03 or 2:04, and Janfres last lap did a 2:01.1, so still dry tyres looking like the favoured choice, but it could honestly come down to the last 5 minutes, this, because the track will take a little while to get wet,
damp.
Fully wet. Yeah, so it could go damp, but if the racing line is still, warm enough, so to speak, and the tyres have still got heat in them, people will still generate enough grip on the dry tyres. But you've got to remember, most people have been on these tyres for nearly 45 minutes now. So not only are they worn, there's also wet weather approaching at a rapid rate by the looks of it, because the droplets now are very visible in the air. So people are going to start squirreling around, I think, on the brakes.
Try to go inside the car of Gianfrest. It's quite near to Bilancini. Let's try to see how much wet it comes up from the rear tires of
It's not
Bilancini.
a lot, to be honest. We were on board with him before, and he didn't really. There was no like spray being generated as of yet. But everyone's kind of sitting line astern as they were. We'll quickly go back to another battle that's on, which is DeSantis after his issue with Colombo earlier on. Was it Colombo that I had the contact with? No, it wasn't. It was someone else, wasn't it?
There is DeSantis, yes, behind Colombo.
I don't think who he had the contact with. I think it was Corduran, wasn't it? So DeSantis has lost a lot of time now. Montalbano up to 11th. Fazio up to 10th.
Considering what happened to Montalbano, a top 10 would be quite an achievement, but it's 8 seconds from the Biasio, so not too easy to happen this. So the closest cars actually are Gianfrest and Bilancini, but no, they are DeSantis and Colombo. But I think that everyone actually is more concerned about what's happening, about the softness of the track, rather than gaining position with a risky move.
We'll just have to see if we see any standing water developing or anything, because it's hard to tell when a track is damp, or a lot easier when there's standing water, to see if the rain is accumulating anywhere on the track. I know around Silverstone though there is quite a few areas where they can have rivers across the track when it gets heavy rain, especially in this game. It does simulate that kind of thing quite well. Not seeing anyone look like they're struggling too much with this sprinkling of rain so far, but we could quite easily, in the turn of a lap or two, see massive changes. But the lead, I mean, if you look at the front now, Luca Lozio is now back 4.5 seconds back from Capoccia and Porter now. So Porter sitting pretty at the moment, 4 seconds in the lead nearly, and Capoccia sitting well in P2. To be honest with you, he's 4.5 clear. So it's those three at the moment in the podium spot.
Yeah, Bilancini seems too far out of contention for a podium, but great race from him, definitely. Good comeback from Dondi, despite the fact that he started ninth after the spat with Lozio. I think they also the DG, the race direction, will have to work a bit of protest during this race. I'm pretty sure about the contact between Lozio and Dondi will be investigated, and absolutely also the contact between Trifiglio and Carturan will be matter of a protest.
Yeah, what was the other accident we saw? We saw someone, it was Pizzarini, was it?
Yeah, there was Puzzarini, also Carturan with Semeraro, maybe.
Yes, potentially, yeah.
Okay. Yep, no problem. Actually, I don't know what you are streaming. I'm seeing that you are on DeSantis, that it's close to Colombo. DeSantis on Colombo, they are quite close on the straight for the stove. But seems that the track, despite that the wet condition is still suitable for the dry tires. A nice job, I would say, from every driver in racing in such changeable condition. But with 11 minutes, oh, big spin from DeSantis trying to catch Colombo. But with 11 minutes to go, everything can happen. So let's see how it goes. It has been a really nice race until now. And Porta Racing, full well deserve the win, thanks to the fact that he's been able to capitalize on the mistakes of the others. There you go. I followed DeSantis on Colombo because they are the closest one.
Yeah, that's the camera that I've had on for a little
I
while.
saw it.
But we'll go. So now, Dondi. It's Dondi now. He's up to P6 now. And the rain's definitely got a little heavier. Everyone seems to have got the wipers on now. Everyone is really spread out now. That's the only problem. There's quite a few gaps developing. So we'll have to see. I'll tell you something though. Luca Lozio is struggling. He's just done a 2:07.0, and you can see some water at the side of the track gathering at the side of the tarmac in certain places. But yeah, he's just dropped a lot of time. He's lost. I don't know whether he's had a spin or whether he's just lost that over a bunch of laps. But he was only 4 seconds behind, 4.5 behind Capoccia, but he's now. Let's see when he crosses the line what the gap is. 9.3, so he has actually lost about another 4 seconds.
Yeah, probably a mistake.
Massive amount of time. What's the leader doing? Porter, he's doing 2:05.3, so everyone's doing slower lap times. 2:05.1 from Capoccia, and then as I said, 2:07, 2 2:07s now for Lozio, so he's losing 2 seconds a lap to the leader and second place. If anything, he's actually being caught now by Bilancini. Bilancini doing a just about an 04. 2-minute 04. 2-minute 04.983 is what he's done. Let's have a look how Jean-Fres getting on as well. 2:05.8. So you're looking now where wet tyres are going to start to become an option in this last 5 minutes of the race, which is unbelievable that we're even actually talking about this right now, because most drivers will think we'll try and get to the end without pitting, because if they have to pit in 5 minutes time, they won't have the time to make up a lot of time, gain a lot of time, should I say, in the wet tyres. They will only lose heaps and heaps of time coming in to change them. However, if you then lose a bit of grip and lose the rear end, it could be curtains for your race if you damage the car. So a very, very interesting series of events kicking off in the last 8 minutes.
Looking at the forecast, it says that more and more heavier rain will be expected, but in 15 minutes, and by that time we can expect the race to be over. It depends on the exact minutes and second. Porta or the driver that will be in first position by the time we cross the line, but we would expect the race to last at least 8, maybe 9 minutes. So maybe we could see some heavy rain come in at the very last seconds of the race, and this could lead to some unexpected consequences for the guys that are actually on dry tires. That it's the entire field. I think nobody has put the dry tires.
So we have a battle emerging here from DeSantis, Amato and Natari. Amato and I think that's a back marker actually. 168 or 169. That car is there. But yeah, Amato having a look here. DeSantis is going to have a go down the inside. Not quite.
Now we can see water coming from the tires.
You can see the water on the tyres now, definitely, and the spray appearing, and you can see how hard all the drivers are having to work here. They're out on the curb, and the Porsche is off there. Who's that? The Porsche off the track completely.
Colombo.
That's Colombo. So
It's
Colombo's
following
lost a
Amato and
couple of...
DeSantis.
Oh, that's tight. Bit of a close to contact, actually, and the Aston's very, very wide. Is Amato going to dare to send it around the outside? He is. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. Will he cut back, though? No, he won't. He's going to carry on. And the Aston's just about still got the position, but he's going to try and get up the inside into Copse, which is very, very brave. This for P13, of course. We'll have to see if he can get the job done, but he does back out of it. But the Aston's off the road. We're going to go helicam so we can see what's happening here a bit better. So yeah, we've got the Aston rejoining the road, but Amato's going to try it. Is he into Maggots and Beckett? He goes, and he has got the job done. Absolutely brilliant move from Amato. Amazing. And Colombo is looking to also wedge the door open if he can. Nothing as of yet, but he nearly loses it on the curb through Chapel. You can visually see the cars now struggling for grip, because you saw then he's lit the rears up, and that's hampered his run onto the straight, so he isn't able to have a go into here. And Amato's wide. Good save.
About to losing it. I think we are in wet tire situation now.
I agree, but with 5 minutes to go, do you pit? That's the question.
No.
For all of these drivers, do you just hang on for dear life and almost bring out your rallying skills in these conditions? This is probably the best battle we've got on track at the moment. Colombo is probably the man on the move, I would think. He's trying to get past the Aston, but with
also Notarius came from the back.
Yes, he's caught these guys. These guys have all been squabbling for position, and Notari has managed to close the gap as well now. So.
Beautiful race.
Yeah, very good racing from these guys. Colombo chasing down DeSantis. Marto just ahead. Everyone else looks like they've calmed down a bit now. And we've got... yes, so the lead gap's still looking around 4 seconds as well. So
everything seems quite in front, apart from the fact that Bilancini maybe could get the podium from Losio if Losio made some mistake, or it's in crisis related to some damage that he could have on the car.
Could have a quick look at their lap times at the front just quickly whilst this battle's settled down just a little bit. So we've got 2:07.2 from Porter, 2:08.2 from Capoccia, 2:08.4 for Losio, and 2:07.3. So Bilancini is the fastest. He's the fastest guy on track at the moment.
Yeah, he's going for it. He won the podium.
So I've just lost connection to the ACC director, so I'll be back in a second doing that. But we've still got Bilancini on camera at the moment. So we'll get this reworking. But yeah, we're coming into these closing 3 minutes now. This has got to be probably 2 laps to go, I would think. We'll have to see if anyone can do about it. Yeah, so it looks like I've lost connection to that director service, so we will just be having to use the in-game one.
Montalbano, it's nearing on De Biasio. Maybe it's Montalbano, it's already in top 10, and that's something, considering what happened to him.
It's going through the positions. There we go. Montalbano. We're on with Montalbano. Oh, he's drifting. He's drifting through Luffield. What a bit of driving that was. He was fully lit the rears up there, and he's trying to catch. Who's that? De
Biasio.
So he's looking to try and gain another position. He has now made it into the top 10, as you said. But these conditions now getting very tricky for the drivers, and he's off at Copse Corner. He's all the way off the road, but he won't get a penalty, I don't think, because he's lost time doing that.
Yeah.
With it being so wet. But people still taking a lot of curb, you know, for wet conditions. The curbs are normally the wettest part of the racetrack, if anything, in these type of conditions. He's going to run wide a bit out of Chapel curve, is he? No.
We've
just
got
about
Carturano
keeping
Dondi.
it.
Carturano Dondi. It's nearing. And knowing Carturan attitude, it won't be easy for Dondi. It's
No, it
already
will not.
sweating. One minute and a half to the end of the race.
Yeah, so we're there or thereabouts for the end. Gonna be one more lap, I would think, to the end of the race.
Two maybe.
Possibly
It depends on
two.
where
It
is
depends
Porta.
where Porter is, doesn't it? Let's try and jump forward to him. Yeah, there we go. Leader on the final lap, we can see. So Bilancini is now only 1.1 seconds behind Luca Lozio. Can Luca Lozio hang on to his podium position after leading for most of it? And he was battling with Dondi for the lead before contact on around, I would say, probably lap 10. After Dondi was defensive driving. And I think Bilancini's going to get him here. He's 6/10 back from him. But we're going to quickly stick with this one because this really is where the big points are being paid. We've got, obviously, Montalbano has now actually made it past Abazio, so we have missed that off camera, but he has managed to get past him. But we'll just stick with this one because this is for the podium position, and then we can also see whether Dondi manages to hold off Corturan as well. Down the hanger straight we go, and we've got Bilancini in the tow of Lozio, and he's looking to the outside round Stowe, and he's actually alongside for a brief moment, and then Lozio has ran a bit wide, has he? Yes, he has, but he's got to have the inside for Vale. Fantastic racing between these two. And
Porta's passed the finish line with 1 second sparing, so it's 1 lap more.
It's 1 lap more, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we have 1 more racing lap to go because Porter's crossed the line and
Bilancini goes wide.
Yes, Bilancini trying his hardest to get past Lozio. So I don't know actually whether this will be the last lap because Porter he's got to be crossing the line at the other start finish, hasn't he? Not this one.
No. He passed 1 or 2 seconds before the end of the time, so this is the last lap actually.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Also the server said
Bilancini hits him. Bilancini has turned him around, and will he get back going again? Yes, he will.
He's waiting. Yes, great work by Bilancini.
Bilancini does allow him to come back, I think, to be honest. If he'd got through that corner without... There you go, he's got the run on him already, actually. Is he going to try and make the move? He is, he's on the grass. He's on the grass down into Brooklands. Is he going to get it stopped? He's all over the grass. Is he going to lose the car? No.
He's trying too hard.
He's trying so hard, but the conditions not allowing for it. DeSantis has been given a drive-through penalty on the final lap of the race from 14th place. But we have actually missed Porter crossing the finish line. Where's he gone?
Yes.
Where is he? We can't seem to find him.
Yes.
There
Porter
he
and
is.
Capoccia, they passed right now. So.
Yeah. Congratulations to
I think
Porter.
I actually mistaken the finish line, the old one with the new one.
With the new one, yes. I thought you might have done, yeah, because it said leader on the final lap way before that, so I think it was because they knew he'd run out of time before starting another lap. So, yeah, Porter managing to hold on. Great win from him. He's here he is. Let's see if he does any celebrating.
Also from Capoccia.
Yes.
Let's see how it goes. Everyone is coming. Montalbano right now. Great P9 after what happened to him. Temeraro P8. Good work. Carturan P7. Dondi P6.
There's the...
and now it's raining for real.
Yes, it is. The rain has come a little too late for some of them who would have wanted this halfway through the race. Because some drivers do prefer driving in the rain. But Porter managing to take away the win from Capoccia. It ended up being only a 1.3 second gap, you know. Porter was leading by about 4, so Capoccia put him under pressure at the very end, but nothing came of it. And then, as we saw, Luca Lozio and Bilancini trying very hard at the end to try and get by Luca Lozio, but couldn't quite get it done. He did have contact, but did allow him to retake position. Jean Frest coming home in P5 as well, and Dondi in P6 after his early spin and contact with Lozio. Corturan didn't manage to get past Dondi for P6, so he comes home in P7. Semerato, Montalbano managing to, with a great recovery drive,
P9.
I'd say. P9, that's an excellent result for him. And finally, P10 is De Basio in the Mercedes AMG.
Mixed feelings, I think, for Trifilio, because he was running a really nice race before the contact with Carturan, and that's it. He decided this race, but nonetheless a nice result, because I was explaining before, 11th place awards you with a nice bag of points that could come handy in the last part of the championship. Depends on what's happening on your opponent. So great work for Alessandro Porta of the Racing Line Motorsport, that wins the first race of the Esport Series.net Assetto Corsa Competizione Race Championship of the 2020. Second place for Andrea Capoccia of the GT World Race Carman team, and third for Luca Losio. Despite what happening to him, will be interesting to get him. Will be interesting to have him in the commentary box, asking him what happened, that all of a sudden he caused him to lose a lot of time and positions. An accident, likely.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant first race, I would say, for the championship.
Very fun.
It was
Very fun.
very good to commentate on and broadcast. So thank you everybody for watching, because I'm sure that was just as enjoyable for you guys as it was for us. I'm sure we hopefully covered most bases, covered most incidents and most battles. I think we saw enough of them through the 1 hour and 45 minutes. And even with a little bit of sprinkling of rain late on, causing a bit of controversy with a couple of good drivers struggling with the conditions, as well as a little bit of contact as well. But for the most part, very, very clean for most of it.
Definitely.
Way more good battles than contact. So good driving from everyone all
Good
round.
quality driving, yes.
Shame we didn't get to see more of the tail end drivers, actually. So you've got Puzzarini in 22nd. Who we got? Let's see.
Rosmarino never entered in the race also.
Rosmarino, yeah.
26, but he retired after 11 laps.
Yeah, so there's quite a few guys who didn't finish the whole distance, so unfortunately they won't score points. I believe the last point scoring finisher will be 19th placed Rotundo. So
yeah, you have to get until the end of the race. If you stop before the end of the race, it's a DNF basically. So no points by the classification. So I think we wrap it up on a really nice race. Also the rain has added a touch of drama in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing what the drivers can do next week at Circuit de Catalunya in Spain. I'm sure it'll be another brilliant race. I would think that we can expect dry conditions, but you never know what Assetto Corsa Competizione is going to throw at the drivers, to be honest. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think we are probably done.
Yep.
So, well, thank you everybody for watching, first of all. Thank you for being alongside me as well, Matteo.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks to you, Aidan.
No worries. And as we said, we'll see you next week in Catalonia. And we hope to see everyone there. And all the drivers, I'm sure, will be raring to go in a week's time. Same place. And we'll
maybe isn't it in 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Sorry, not a week. I'm mistaken. I apologise. It is in 2 weeks' time, and it should be on the 30th of January, not 13th. That was 3 days ago. Yes, 30th of January in Barcelona is when the next race will be. So we'll see you on the YouTube channel, esportsseries.net YouTube channel. Make sure you're following on Twitter and any social media platforms that you may have to stay up to date with any penalties that get applied as well for any drivers and things like that. I'm sure we'll bring you up to date with them next time out in Catalonia. But I will say my farewells.
Me too. Thanks, Aiden. Just one last thing. If anybody has hooked up with all racing, I remember that there are actually 2 championships that are to start here on esportseries.net. The FC1 run on the Ferrari Formula 1 of 2004, and the Clio Cup that it's also about to start. All those championships, everyone can try to pre-qualify for just a single race or the World Championship. So if everybody has been hooked up by the quality of the racing, you can come and race with us. Also on Assetto Corsa, the other 2 championship is about to start on the platform.
Well, there you have it then. So there's more championships to be had and won and lost on esportseries.net. So if you want to get involved, head on over to the website. I'm sure the guys will sort you out. And we will see you next week. Not next week, 2 weeks. I keep saying next week. It's not. It's 2 weeks. Schedule it in your diary. 30th of January, round 2 of the ACC League. And we'll see you then.